I broke up with my ex-girlfriend, it was like just kind of missing buddies.
Yeah.
You know, just hanging out.
100%.
And so an excuse to schedule and hanging out with friends is like
and get some content out of it as well too.
Yeah, the thing with the podcast is there are some people who are hosts that treat it as interviewing. And I don't really want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there are if you're looking for a specific type of, if there's somebody that's like, maybe you're into, a specific media, like an art form, like maybe you're into, films and you want to listen to interviews of, actors or directors or producers, like then obviously there are lanes for, specific things. But yeah, I'm with you. I feel like the podcasts that mostly I enjoy are just.
I don't think I'm introspective enough to ask
Same.
good enough questions,
Yeah, I'd be like the, that classic Chris Farley sketch where he's with Paul McCartney just being like, remember when you were in the Beatles? Like, that was awesome. That's like, that'd be my interview.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Damn, I miss him. I was watching Tommy Boy kind of recently. Dude. And him, David Spade too.
They got a podcast now too. I listen to that one now too.
With Dana Carvey.
Yeah, the Fly on the Wall.
I love that one.
Yeah. And they did a whole Chris, I think a 2-part thing. And it's really interesting to hear that he seems like, obviously a hilarious dude and, a legend, but he seems like he was kind of a handful to be around as well too.
Like, I mean, he was on coke.
Super jealous guy too.
Listening to those guys talk about SNL, and I've heard like everyone ever who's been on SNL talk about SNL.
Right.
And they all of them talk about how there's like a sense of competition with it. And it makes sense. I mean, there's only so many people in a cast, only so many writers, and every comedian in the country wants to be on that show.
Right.
When your skits aren't hitting or something, and then you see your buddy next to you hitting them, and you're like, fuck, man.
But Spade would be telling stories about like, not even like so much things on stuff getting on air or anything. He'd be jealous of like, if Spade got to talk to Rob Lowe a little longer, or if a girl said hello to him first, then it was like just shit like this. It's like, clearly a lot of like insecurities and stuff going on, which is,
right.
understandable, but at the same time, it's like, when you see how, huge he was and, especially the guys he's getting jealous of,
Totally. It's funny too, the musical guest aspect of SNL, how that can make or break your career in some way. Like Ashley Simpson's career totally murdered because of that. Although, like you think about today, how there's so much backing tracks with music and like that era, I don't think the audience was totally keen on how much backing was in music, live music.
I think it was just her awkward, like she did like a jig.
The hoedown.
Yeah. I think that just kind of,
Yeah, dude, that was embarrassing. And even her sister, Jessica.
Yeah.
What the fuck was she? She had a singing career that I couldn't tell you a song or anything that came out of it.
You know that she was in Dukes of Hazzards?
She was a babe.
Yeah, that was definitely, but yeah, I mean, Nick Lachey, that was another thing. The thing. Yeah, but I don't, same. I couldn't tell you actually a song off the top of my head.
Did you ever watch, my sisters, particularly my oldest sister, always watched the E! Channel.
E! Channel? No, I think.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. The only time I think I ever watched E! Channel was when I was like in middle school, and it would be like 11:30 at night, and the Howard Stern show would be on, and that would be your way to see censored, boobs.
Yeah.
That would probably be my E! experience, because I never watched like the Kardashians or anything like that, and they were all on E!
Dude, it's such a junk channel.
Well, and then what VH1 was doing a bunch of stuff at that time as well too. That was all the like Shot of Love, Tequila, all that stuff.
The early 2000s was the reality transition, and just kind of made TV really gross.
Oh yeah, I mean it was you were getting like you were finding just like the lowest of the low and trying to make them. Celebrities. That's what Jersey Shore is like comes out of.
Yeah, dude.
It's around that time as well too.
And yeah, I guess that was like the beginning of influencers to some degree too, because it was like the internet was just coming out, and you could just become popular from being some shitty contestant on like The Bachelorette.
Right.
You know, even though you had no talent or product or anything, you were just on TV for however many days until you got thrown off.
Yeah. And you made your name.
And it could make your career too.
Oh yeah.
You know, you could just shell some shitty, essential oils or something.
Yeah, and now you're seeing, like some of these reality stars are actually turning into legitimate entrepreneurs. I feel like there's like a handful of these housewives that have these like companies and brands that are like millions and billions of dollars. And it's like,
the housewife brand of TV shows kind of.
And I literally cannot tell you a single name of one. I've never seen an episode of one.
No, but they're not. It's like eating like the shittiest cereal, like the lowest of low food for your eyes. Like nothing educational.
It's like I can't even come up with a proper analogy. It's some type of spoonful like shit McDonald's. Maybe it's like a shit from McDonald's or something.
If you were one of those cameramen, dude, I would have to be just blitzed out of my mind to get through a day.
Oh yeah, no, nobody's so.
Let alone an editor.
Yeah,
you're just like, oh my god, like the dumbest shit that is said over because they're filming all day, I'd imagine.
Right,
and they edit it down into like a 30-minute episode.
Clearly, somebody that wants to kill themselves regularly. Or it could be, maybe it's somebody that's just like the most at peace person, that could just be sitting and going
never,
and they're just like,
never upset, never enraged.
Right.
Can you think of the last time you were that angry? Probably on the 405.
Yeah, definitely probably something in traffic or some gig where,
Oh no, the pedal board explodes.
Or, playing at a fucking bar and having Valerie be requested for like the 50th time or something along the lines of, like can you play Santeria?
Dude, one of the most, I wasn't enraged, but I was embarrassed when I was touring with K-Flay for that one summer. We played these two shows at Stubbs Austin, and the first show, it was like, I want to say like the first song. And we start playing, and then like I come in on guitar, and immediately like all of my guitar shit is loud as fuck in the in-ear monitors, like ear piercing, bleeding,
overbearing.
And apparently, like the monitors, dude, his board was somehow connected to the front of house board. Like they restarted the board, and things just weren't set up right.
Right.
And so the dude at front of house like brings all of my shit down. And I can't hear anything. So I immediately, like, out of experience, assume, like, I'm exploding. Like, my shit's exploding.
Right.
So I hit the ground, and I'm, like, trying to rewire shit, trying to get some sound, And all the while, I'm supposed to be playing, as a pivotal part of the song.
Right. Yeah. Doing the job that you're being paid.
Yeah. And the monitors guy comes up, the sound guy comes up, is trying to help me, Evan. And eventually, we just like unplug my shit and I go like right into an amp. Just the
sound you want.
Yeah, just to play,
right. No, but I mean.
And I think they figured it out like halfway through the set, and it was embarrassing.
Because I'm sure like, at some point, maybe if she wasn't, but you probably feel like, like K-Flay's looking at you like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. Like you're letting her down.
Right.
Especially like a headlining tour type thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember once when I was with my last band in Chicago, we had this huge show at Dirty Nelly's.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
It was a good
forget.
Yeah, it's such a gross name. But it was like the encore song. And we were playing Elephant by Tame Impala.
Classic.
And our guitarist, Joe Cox, he's a badass guitarist. And it was like this solo part that I think is a synth in the song, but he plays it on guitar. Yeah, I think it is guitar actually.
No, I think it's a synth.
Is it? Yeah,
think
yeah,
so.
yeah. But he plays on guitar, and his like the epitome of exploding. It sounded like his stuff exploded. Like it's probably like a tube just detonating behind him, you know. And
Just the sound of, hundreds of dollars.
Right. And so like you know that song, it's like 6 minutes, and most of it is just like dun, 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 dun. And
distorted, heavy.
yeah, and you kind of rely on that melody to figure out where the fuck you are,
right?
You know.
Yeah.
And so we're just going, you know, just like repeating it for I don't know, a straight minute while he figured his shit out. And there's been so many situations like once you play enough live shows, just that shit happens.
Oh yeah, it will when you know when you've been playing long enough, something that is out of your hands is just going to happen.
Yeah,
and it's just
that happens.
It's the way you react that is you know
right.
That's and knowing that
figure out how to troubleshoot is
troubleshoot
key.
Or you know a quick plan B, C, and D.
Because you can't just leave.
Right. Well, yeah. No.
That is like
yeah. No.
You can't just leave a situation like that.
I can proudly say that I have never done that. Just the Homer Simpson gift, just the come back in the bushes.
Yeah.
The curtain, just come back in.
Exactly. It's not like.
And let's be real. Most of the gigs where that shit happened, there isn't a curtain. So you're fucking
right.
You're in a bar or something.
I couldn't imagine just walking off stage.
No. Yeah. It's your responsibility to
do something
to close it, in some type to try and land the plane.
Yeah, like if you were like Avicii and your laptop exploded,
R.I.P.
What do you do? R.I.P. Avicii, but like that's half of modern music is just people with a laptop.
Yeah. I don't know. Take your iPhone out and try and put it up to a mic or something.
Just plug the iPhone in, hope no one.
It's one of my mixes.
Yeah. Did
this last week?
I've seen videos of like people like they have, how you have like the table, like DJs have like their table, they have like the mixer or the laptop on it, and then like some drunk bitch puts like her drink or like bumps into it and just just falls into the front row.
I mean, man, we play
that night show. You're like right in front of people.
So that gig, man, we play at this bar in Santa Monica. I'm not going to give them a plug because fuck them. And it's a lot of fun, but it's it's a place where like you're not taking your good gear there because there's gonna get shit that's gonna spill on there. I mean, the amount of beers and drinks that I've had spilled on cables and shit, and even sometimes on like instruments and shit, and it's just like sometimes just kind of unavoidable. And I mean, I definitely like have had
kicked your own shit on your stuff.
I've done it on my, and I've definitely done the move too, where I've done it and then be like, oh, what the fuck, somebody did, like I immediately act like somebody else did it. But
because your stuff's exploding,
or just it's fucking embarrassing that you just did it, and and a couple of the guys in the band, like I mean the fucking poor front man. I mean, he's had so much gear ruined at this gig that he's like so over it already to begin with now.
Like what gear? Pedals,
like floor monitors,
you bring your own floor monitors?
Yeah, he does for that because it's literally like it's a bar gig that's not a stage. It's in a corner of a room and it's in a really, really crowded bar. So you can't really hear shit really. So
dude, you got
to have something to hear yourself.
In your monitors, the quickest you can make that transition and save your hearing.
Oh no, it'd be great. I mean, this is
it's expensive as fuck.
And for my own shit, I actually would use this. This is not my own band. This is somebody else's whole rig and stuff. So
is it covers and originals or what do they do?
It's like 95% covers.
Yeah. Because you're trying to please the crowd.
Yeah, I mean we've been doing it enough now where now we are starting to sneak in some of his own originals, and his originals are good enough where every time we do play them, there's always a positive reaction to it. So I feel like we should be doing it a little bit more. I just think that he just might think maybe he just wants to do more crowd pleasers or something along the lines of that. But
it feels almost like if he can transition into the wedding shit, those wedding bands, dude, they make so much dumb fucking money.
They do, but the thing that's like with wedding bands, in my personal experience, is that they're usually through agencies. So like live music agencies.
Oh, okay.
so I'm with one right now, and they do, like a lot of other things other than wedding bands. They do like, they have a lot of accounts around, like at hotels and, places like the Grove and stuff like that, So anytime you ever see live music, like it's usually through a live agency, something like that.
Well, a lot of those bands are pretty cringy, but there are a lot of good ones.
Oh, they're all, for the most part. I mean, I feel like, maybe in some of the smaller cities or markets, whatever, maybe it's not through an agency. Maybe it's kind of more of a local band type thing. There was actually, at the bar we played at, that same one last week, a girl said to us, like, you guys are so good, you should play weddings. And it's like, this is like not that, and she's like, no, I've done that before. I've hired a band at a bar. And I'm like, well, like that's just a very rare move to do. I feel like usually, you want to go through, because the other thing too is that like, with a wedding, there, are so many professional, you have a professional photographer, a professional videographer, a professional caterer, all these things. Dude, and if you hire like a garage band, it just like, it just doesn't fit the vibe.
Kills it all. The marriage industry, you buy a cake from the fucking bakery for what? First of all, don't tell them it's for a wedding.
Right.
Because they mark it up like 400 times or whatever. And then, you book a space for a few grand. You have to pay for however many fucking guests for their food.
Right.
Dude,
My brother's going through this right now.
He's getting married?
Yeah, he's getting married. And it's getting to that thing where it's like, he's like saying, it's like, he's got a lot of friends and, and she's got a lot of friends too. And it's like, they're, trying to think, you got to figure out like, okay, every single person that's here, that's what, $500 a head or something like that, and
my sister, I have 3 sisters, two of them are married and they did the right move. They did the destination wedding, spent all the money to get to somewhere. So that weeds out like 90% of people who would go.
Right.
And then you just, you're on vacation already, you know?
Yeah. No, that's killer.
Also, like the church wedding. I mean, I get it if you're religious or whatever. But just having some like priest, you don't know his history.
Well, yeah.
He's like breathing on you and shit.
Well, mine's gonna be, we're gonna have the,
the Hard Rock Cafe.
we're gonna have a Hard Rock Cafe. It'll be a Jewish wedding.
Oh,
just, slamming on the glass.
Jewish wedding, I would love to go to.
Yeah, we turn up.
I used to valet at an Italian restaurant, and they would have bar mitzvahs there all the time.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And dude, I would go down there just to like, it was a huge party every time.
Oh man, bar mitzvahs and bat mitzvahs, growing up in, greater Los Angeles area, in the suburbs, there were a lot of Jewish kids where I grew up, and it was like, it was fucking shit, man. But the Jews have it wrong with having this kick-ass party and at 13.
Yeah.
Like that should be
18.
Should be like 21 or something, because I in hindsight, now you look back and the amount of people that were shit-faced at my bar mitzvah, including my parents, it's like, I would love to have been in on that fun. And, and you guys are just, and we're just too busy, playing like, fucking games on the dance floor and stuff,
Right.
And so I just feel like it's this kick-ass party, but it's wasted on a 13-year-old.
You can't even drink.
Yeah, you can't really even celebrate. You're like,
the
biggest thing you had is like, oh, I have this sick-ass chocolate fountain, Like,
right.
Like,
totally. Well, damn.
But they were social. They were like, like, oh, did you get invited to so-and-so's bar mitzvah?
I feel like the modern bar mitzvah isn't even like, from my experience, like watching like a large number of them while I was at that job, none of them were particularly religious.
Right.
They were just parties.
Yeah.
Wasn't earlier in the day they were at the fucking synagogue?
Yeah, because I was going to say, usually they are broken up into, there's the ceremony and then there's the reception, like a wedding.
Yeah.
And there would always be, like the kids that would not come to the first part, and then they would show to the party, and then
that'd be me.
Moms like, but then moms like mine would be like, mad about that and not understand that. And it's like, what do you like? They're not. So half of them are not Jewish. They don't get what's even happening.
Because you're speaking Hebrew.
Yeah, because
through the whole thing.
You're, you pick a portion of the Torah.
Did you do this?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had my bar mitzvah, and you pick your portion of the Torah, and you practice it with a tutor for months before. And
Can you recite?
Oh, fuck no.
You don't remember?
No,
anything?
I mean, I know your basic Hebrew prayers that you would say at like Hanukkah and shit like that. You like Baruch atah Adonai, like that kind of things. But no, I cannot recite what the Torah was. I don't even know what the portion was about.
What would happen if it was a crowd of people and it was like your time to shine and you just like bullshitted like some words?
I would definitely.
Everyone, like the rabbi, would be like, "You motherfucker."
Yeah, I'm trying to think like if they would call you out on the spot. They maybe would let you like be like, "I'll let you slide here, but you're gonna be like, we're gonna talk about this after." But really, like after the bar mitzvah, it's like your graduation really from like Hebrew school and stuff. You don't like most kids don't continue to do it. I had all my brothers and we had to go to Hebrew school for years, and it was fucking terrible.
wait, you have two brothers?
Yeah, two brothers that are twins.
So the oldest getting married? Or he's already married?
No, I'm the oldest.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I'm the oldest.
Oh,
and
okay.
then, and the other guys are 2 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of them, they're both in relationships and have been for a while. But yeah, one of them got engaged
Welcome to the single life, my guy.
It is, it has been very interesting. Yeah.
It is tough. I know. We're in the same boat, like transitioning from, I don't know. I like being single, dude. I miss it.
I have my, I'd say I'm very 50-50 on both of, some days I really enjoy it, and other days I'm definitely like,
depressed as fuck.
Well, not even that, but like just kind of like, you miss your old life, or like whatever your old routine was.
Right.
Kind of, especially when you've been doing it.
Morning breakfast.
Yeah. Or, just like, I don't know, just certain, or like, and I still like, same with you, like I still am living in the same space that we used to live together in. So there's still like, you get like random
ghosts of memories.
Right. Just random places and stuff. So that like, you can't really help, just pop up. But, like you said, it's definitely,
You should get a dog.
I want to get one. I'm gigging way too much right now that I can't do that right now. Because honestly, when we first broke up, that was like the first thing I thought. I'm like, I'm getting a fucking dog. Because I really do love dogs. I mean, I've grown up with dogs. My parents have, 2 German Shepherds. We had 3, but we unfortunately lost one a few months ago. But I've grown up, with dogs, and I dog sit all the time. And yes, I'm a massive fan of dogs. So that was the first thing I thought I was going to do. And so
then you saw fucking expensive there.
Well, no, actually, if any, I would have gone the fucking
you would have
adopted route, but still, I know how expensive it is just to fucking keep them alive, and take care of them.
It's not that bad. I feel like people tout that aspect of dog ownership, but it's really, I would say maybe $1,000 a year.
It's not bad at all. I pay for other shit way more than that.
Yeah, for like food and the occasional, and like, God forbid you dog like, has like a tumor or some shit, and then you spend like $5,000 at the vet. Like, dude, I'm sorry, I'm not spending $5,000 on my dog.
I get it. Yeah, it's obviously if you have the means to, but even if you don't, obviously, it's a
tough situation.
Tough decision. And
I had a friend who, I remember she was telling me, I think her dog like ate something and it was like lodged in her abdomen or something. And she goes to the vet, and the vet tells her it'd be like $10,000 to surgery. And so she calls like her dad, like asking for money to do it. And her dad's like, no.
Yeah, like
sorry, dude.
Sorry,
like
take him out in the back.
Say goodbye, Yeah, even like if I had a son, and it was like a $10,000 surgery, I'd think twice,
Be like, are there any other alternatives?
Yeah, like, can we?
Or at least ask if there's a payment plan.
I would do the surgery myself at that point. Like bite this stick. I'm going in. Oh, dude. Have you seen 1923 on Paramount?
I haven't seen any of
the
those.
Yellowstone.
I haven't seen any of them. I want to. It's been on my list, but
you should get to that. But there was a recent, I think the last episode. We'll just think about back then. You get shot in the middle of the wilderness, you're dead.
Oh yeah.
Like there's no hospital, and if there was a hospital, they would just look at you and be like, "Sorry, there's nothing I can amputate here." You know?
Well, life in general back then just fucking sucked.
Dude,
like
it was brutal.
You try and go take. Well, first of all, you can't take a shit inside anywhere. So that's first thing.
I think that. Yeah, when did modern plumbing arise? I bet you it came from France.
Oh, probably, but I'm pretty sure. But at least in 1800s and early maybe 1923 at least, a little bit more manageable. But still, we're talking outhouses are probably still pretty popular.
like a septic. Modern plumbing, 1850.
Okay, so not, but that doesn't mean that everywhere had it in 1850. You know, that's when it was just invented.
Yeah,
so it probably took a second to.
Totally. Like if you were the first dude, like the first plumber, you must have been raking it in because everyone's like, I need that shit. Or
you're the dude that got ripped off and somebody else swooped it and
did the worst plumbing job ever on your whole house. Yeah. Alexander Cummings patented the first flush toilet in 1775. What a G.
Have you seen the?
Oh wait. It wasn't until Thomas Crapper came along in the mid-1850s that toilets found their way into the mainstream. So that's where crap comes from?
Is that really his last name?
No fucking way, dude. That's amazing.
You ever seen the photos of what the medieval toilets look like?
Yeah, like shitting out the size of their
it's like
buildings,
like
the
50,
castles.
And then there's somebody like at the bottom that their job would be to shovel it. Yeah.
Oh, I saw too. This could be fake. But in like Rome, like Spartacus times, which was probably, God damn it, I don't know my ancient Rome years, but back then you would go to like the local latrine, which is like where everyone shit in the middle of town or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a guy who would wipe your ass with like a brush.
Sounds pretty nice
for
actually.
You.
I think I'd like that honestly. yeah. Also, dude, I like the idea of just like grabbing the boys and just like, it's like, let's go down and grab a shit together.
Yeah,
guys, like just guys being dudes.
Yeah. Like those photos of like the local stall. There's like two toilets in there for some reason.
And also like, you're not a respected person when you're the wiper, right? Like that's your career. Or do you?
Probably a low wage gig.
But you got to maybe treat the guy a little bit with respect, right? Because you don't want him,
getting too deep
or using a nail or something. You got to, make.
I wonder if it tickled.
Maybe like throw him, an extra. I don't know what the currency would be back then, but maybe throw him, hey man, like maybe,
or if it was,
give me an extra, sheet, hook a brother up,
or if it was like you go to the car wash, they have like the $10 service versus like the $5, and it's like
you get the more premium one. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
yeah. Like this one is like a silk cloth. This one is like horsehair or something. Yeah,
and then we'll give you a mint after. He's honestly, really, if we really are, what we're talking about right now is the first bathroom maitre d'. Yeah, this was this is exactly what we're talking about.
But that guy, those guys, all they really do. What do they really do? They just give you like a mint, like you were saying.
Or they hand you a towel,
yeah,
which you're very capable of grabbing, but they stand in front of where the towels are.
Right.
So
I don't
looking for tips.
I don't like that job.
Yeah.
Like I don't need that in my life.
There are some places that, they're fancy enough or whatever, where it's like, okay, it makes sense.
I just don't.
But then there are other places where you'll be like, wait, you're not a fancy enough place to have you here. Like, where they can afford paying somebody in the bathroom,
right?
Like, what?
Even like, I feel bad for like when you go to the airport and there's some guy like cleaning the shitter right before you enter the toilet, and you're like, thanks, but I'm about to wreck everything you just did.
I'm gonna press the happy face when I'm done. When because you ever seen those things? It'll be like,
right.
This is for you, my friend. That's yours. This happy face is for you.
Did you ever smuggle pot or anything through a plane?
I haven't done. Well, I guess technically, yeah, because like I've definitely like packed like weed in a a suitcase that I've checked. I've never done one like a carry-on before.
Yeah.
Like I've definitely done like, like a little weed or like a vape pen or something like in a suitcase, but like under the plane.
Yeah, the vapes you get away with.
Yeah,
because everyone has a vape now.
Yeah,
but yeah, my ex would hide joints in like her makeup bag because all of, like the makeup shit are kind of tubey looking.
You know, and I did that with my ex as well one time too. I think I definitely gave her something.
That seems to be a foolproof method.
I think I had edibles or something that were gummies, and I might have thrown it in one of those or something like that.
Yeah, gummies you can easily pass through.
Yeah.
You know, coming out of California, I don't think anyone gives a fuck. But like, if you are flying out of another state or something, it's a risky move to do that.
Well, I mean, in general, they even let you know at LAX that it's all legal on the federal level. So like, if you have it, you're gonna get in trouble for it. It's not something where they're just gonna be like, you fucking LA guy, you know, like no, like you're gonna get, you know, it's definitely something that you know, it's not recommended. But
have you ever been busted for a crime or anything?
Not for any like crimes or
just
anything.
Speeding.
I mean, definitely.
You weren't driving a Ford Bronco.
Well, you know, actually, I completely forgot. I was arrested in Boston.
Really?
But it was the most like, just like,
and I don't have drunken arrest.
No, actually, not even that. And I can say all this because it for some reason it's not on my record or anything. Nothing like. Huh. So it was the last. This is like not a very exciting story. But,
no, please.
It was the like last day of like my junior year. You know, this is in Boston, and a bunch of us want to go and like go up to like the beach area, which like the closest beach to us is in this area called Revere, and Revere is like maybe like a 30-minute, you know, ride on the T. Revere is a shithole. Like, it is not a nice spot.
Is that named it for Paul?
Yeah.
Our boy Paulie?
Yeah. It's like very like what you like expect, you know, typical Boston, like, you know, thick guy, like the pack the guy, like that, you know, it's like, and like just like very blue collared area, and like the beaches look like they like would have like, you know, needles in the sand or something like that. Dude. So we all decided like we're all gonna go up to Revere at night, and this is like a group of like maybe like 40 to 50 people. Like it's like, you know, multiple friend groups, you know, like it's not like it's like all me and my 40 friends. It was like a bunch of different crews of people that all kind of.
Wait, why were you in Boston?
I went to Berklee College of Music.
Oh yeah. Cool.
So it's the end of that year. Me and a bunch of my friends go up to this area, and we're all just hanging out at the beach. A couple people were drinking. I actually don't think I was. Maybe I had like a beer, but was definitely not. I was not a big drinker back then.
I don't think there's any. The average Bostonian has at least one beer in their system at a time.
Yeah, no, I think you're right there, honestly. But at the same time, we were also like music kids. Like, so we were like
still kind of young,
and like we just
nerds,
sucked at partying.
Yeah,
like, you know, like we're just like like we had like no Greek system, and you know, our college was like in the middle of the city, so it wasn't really a campus or anything. It's definitely changed a lot now. There's a lot more buildings and shit. But so we're all up there and we're playing football, like pickup football game. It's at night, and I think I got like in a fight or something with this girl I was seeing at the time over there, and we were like arguing, and she like was like, all right, whatever. And she like left. And then I go down to like the shoreline to go take a leak. And I go do that. And then I turn around and like I see like just a bunch of people like kind of just like, you know, like leaving. And I'm like, oh, I guess people are just like leaving. And there's a light, just a little flashlight flashing on me and flashing on a few other people. And I keep hearing my buddy, Mike, yelling like, yo, we're leaving, let's go. And I'm kind of not really like thinking that anything's like wrong. Yeah. So I'm just walking towards the like where all my friends are and walking towards this light, and keep hearing my friends say like, yo, we're leaving. And I'm walking, and this light is getting like brighter, and I'm getting to the point where I'm like walking and I'm kind of like putting my hand up like this, and I'm like, yo, like,
it's a cop?
Enough with the light. I'm like, I'm coming. And then I hear somebody go, what the fuck did you just say? And I go like, I said like, I'm coming, man. Like, you can shut the fucking light off. And then the next thing I hear is Massachusetts State Police, motherfucker. And then somebody just grabs my arm.
What?
And like there was like 2 or 3 cops there.
Were you on like a crime scene? Where were you?
So
like why
the
would
beach is closed at night.
Oh.
And you're not allowed to be there.
That's so fucking dumb.
So they grab me and I'm like, at the time, I'm kind of like, what the fuck is going on? And everybody's like scattering. So then I'm like, I got handcuffs thrown on me. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm getting like rolled to a car. This fucking kid that's like part of our crew. I don't really know him too well. I know him like, you know, through a friend of a friend. He's closer with my buddy Mike. This kid Jay. He's this black kid and he's running to go get his shoes because he had like dipped
on the beach.
Yeah, but he forgot his shoes and because they were all running to go back to the train. The train station was like down the street from where we are.
Yeah.
And
well, Boston is so small. Like you could get across town on foot.
For sure.
Relatively quickly.
But where we are though, we're not in Boston though. Like
yeah.
Like we're in that Revere zone. And you know, it's a little bit more like it's not Boston.
Revere.
So this kid Jay is running. So I'm getting dragged in handcuffs. And I'm like,
was it like 2 cops or is it?
It was just, I think 2 or 3 cops. And it was a group of 40.
You're just on a beach.
And I happen to be the one fucking kid that they just grab because I'm the idiot that's like, what's going on? You know? Like, and they're just like.
You thought it was your buddies.
Yeah. And I thought like, oh, like, okay, it's time to go. Like my friend Mike shining a light at me, screaming, let's go. And I'm like, all right, here I come. And then I just get grabbed by a cop and it's like, you're coming with me. And I'm like, kind of,
Dude, and Boston cops will fucking hit you with a billy club.
Here's the thing. Reason. So as they're dragging me, this kid Jay, who happens to be black, is running back towards like the cops to go grab his shoes. I can see his fucking shoes.
Oh, jeez.
And then the cop who has me yells to the other cop, grab that N-word over there too.
Oh my God.
Just like not even subtly. Just, and grab that over there too.
Well, dude,
and then they grab him and
everyone
he's like,
knows
what the fuck?
Boston is the most racist fucking, like that area, the New England is just so fucking
So
racist.
they throw us in squad cars. They take us down. Literally, it was maybe a 1-minute drive because the station was right across the street from where the beach was. So we get in the car and this guy is just fucking livid at me. Like, what the fuck do you think you guys were doing on the beach? And I was like, I don't know, man. We're just hanging out. Like, we just like finished school. We're like celebrating. He's like, don't you fucking know the beach is closed, motherfucker? And I'm like, and this, I shouldn't have said this because, you know, I go, I'm sorry. I'm from Los Angeles. Like the beaches are kind of open at night. And as soon as I say that, and I'm still in handcuffs in the back of the car.
Yeah.
He slams on the brakes. So I go flying and hit
Jesus.
And turns around and gets right in my face and goes, well, you're not in fucking California anymore, are you? And I at that moment knew I'm in for a long night.
Yeah.
So they take us to the station.
You got booked for nothing.
They take us to the station. This station, dude, is like the size of this room and is like probably was built in like the 1600s.
Yeah. Like
it was this like fucking like these little prison cells that look like seriously like what you would see in a museum of like this is where, you know, George Washington put like, you know, the Brits. Like that's literally, it was like that type of thing. They put us in there. I'm in there until 6 o'clock in the morning. By the way, there is nobody else in this station. Damn. No other prisoners. There's like maybe 3 or 4 cops in the whole fucking building. And so they keep us in this like, so we're in separate cells, but we're in cells right next to each other. And the guy calls me out of the cell and he like starts asking me questions about like, where do I live in Philadelphia and shit, or in Pennsylvania? And I'm like, kind of like, what the fuck is he talking about? And then it clicks that he found my fake ID in my wallet, which says I'm from Pennsylvania. So then that's because I was in college. I had a fake, obviously.
Yeah, right.
And so that's another thing. Then I had to go be like, he's like, so do you still live at this address in in Pennsylvania? And I was like, first I was kind of like, no, I said I'm from California. And he's like, well, then what is this? And he shows me my ID, and I'm like, that's a fake ID. And he goes, oh, it's a fake ID now, is it? And I'm like, yeah, like my real ID is fucking the one that's next to it, the California one, you know? And so he was giving me shit for that. And being like, I can fucking write you up for this as well, you know? And
at least, you know, you were young.
I had to go to court.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, I had to go to court. And when I was supposed to leave to go home for the summer, I think like the next day. And and so I don't know if I called or if they did, but at some point they called my parents, like while I was in jail. And my dad, who's an attorney, but my dad's like old school. My dad's from Brooklyn, and you know, he gets it. And
dude, never talk to the cops.
But I didn't fucking say like shit. I was like, my dad was like, what did he do? And they told him, and he was like, so then why do you have him? Like, he was like, what, how bored are you guys? Like, did he break any other law? They're like, he was trespassing. He's like, but where? Like on the beach. He's like, was it a private beach? Like, no, it was just the beach, and it was at night. And he's like, okay. Like, yeah, it was just like, what?
Yeah.
So, very odd.
It was a power trip, dude.
But dude, they were really fucked up to that other guy. Like, they kept calling him boy.
Jesus.
And like, just like.
What was his name?
Jay. Yeah.
Yeah. What was he saying to you after the situation?
So he didn't say shit to me, but then my buddy.
He didn't get arrested or anything?
No, he was in the same situation with me. And then this is the other fucked up thing, is that so then we had to get bailed out. But the bail was like, you know, so I had to call my friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need you to come bail me out. And they were like, well, what's the bail? And I think my bail was $40. It was like the most, I think it was $40.
Yeah. Which you had in like your pocket.
Yeah. And I had said I'm like, I'll give you that like right on when we get out. And then
that just shows like how.
But the black kids was $300.
What?
Yeah. And we didn't find that out until when we were driving home.
Dude, I can't believe
so my roommate at the time was this kid Joey. He was the one that bailed me out, and then my buddy Mike was the one that bailed out Jay. So then I don't know if it was later that maybe on the drive home or the next day or whatever, but I remember Mike asking me or Joey at one point, how much did you have to pay for the bail? And he was like $40. And Mike was like, what the fuck? And we were like, what? And he's like, it was $300 for him. And we were just like, dude, this is unbelievable.
Dude.
So yeah.
And there's no way you can like.
Then make some shit up to justify it.
Right.
You know?
And if you did like sue or challenge them, it would go nowhere.
So then that's on maybe a Friday or maybe a Saturday. And I was supposed to leave the next day to go home for the summer. I remember my mom being on the phone with the cops while I was sitting like in the cell next to her, so I can hear like what they're saying to her. And I remember my mom telling me after what she said. But they were like, okay, so he's due on court in Quincy, which is another place that's like 45 minutes outside of Boston. They're like, he's due in court in Quincy on Monday morning. And my mom was like, well, what do you mean? He can't do that. Like, he has to go home. He has a flight tomorrow to go home to LA. And they start laughing at her. And they're like, no, he doesn't. Like, if he does, he'll be wanted by the state of Massachusetts.
Yeah. Dude, and you should have done it. That would have been so cool to put on your resume.
I had one more year to complete. I had to, if honestly.
Wait, you have to go back?
Well, no. So I was only a junior.
Oh, yeah.
So, because I had thought about that. I was like, if that was my senior year and I graduated, I would have maybe thought, fuck it, and just left and then never go back to Massachusetts. But because I had to go back for one more year, it's like, I'm coming back here anyway. So I got to go do this. So then I go to court. The court is like one of those, like, it's like a general court. So there's like, they're just sitting and reading other people's cases in front of you and like all in front. And some of these people are like in there for like serious shit. And I'm sitting there like, dude, what am I doing here? Like, you know, like they'll be like reading, they'll be like, you know, plaintiff this, you know, charged with assault and battery, assault with a deadly weapon, shit like that. And you're just like, and then I get up, they call me up and they're like, they read your thing and they're like trespassing. And it literally the judge basically said like, in so many ways, this is a waste of everybody's time.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I know. And like and I had to pay a fine to the court, which I think was like $25, basically saying like, I wasted everybody's time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so then I left and then I went home. I think later that day, I got on a flight and came home for the summer. And then I remember, so my uncle, my brother's dad, is the head of, he's like the chief of surgery at Mass General. He's like a big dick surgeon.
Sick.
And knows a lot of cops and shit in Massachusetts because, you know, he's, I think, honestly done a bunch of surgeries to save a bunch of their lives and stuff. So
I imagine.
So when my dad called him and told him like everything that happened, his first reaction was like, what is he doing over in Revere? But then the second thing that we ended up like looking into like, you know, to see like what the charges were and stuff like that. And when there was no record of me being there at all. So it was like very clearly like these guys were bored. They wanted to just fuck with the two of us. And they sent a quick little like, I don't know, like slap on the wrist to make me go to court in like 2 or 3. That's the other thing too, is that the turnaround was like, so I like, from me being like in a jail cell to then go, that was like, it was like a 24, 48 hour like turnaround.
That's wild.
Yeah. It was.
I've never heard of that.
Same. Like I feel like usually it's like a few months.
So they really had nothing going on.
And then there's no record at all of any of this anywhere.
Dude, think about, that is I'm glad.
Did it really happen? Maybe it's like,
yeah. I mean, think about all those cops, let's say back, like even now, like how many things are not being written up?
Oh, I mean,
that these cops are doing in the day and day, interacting with people.
Oh yeah.
And just think like now cops are under such a microscope.
And they literally have a camera on them now,
yeah,
you know?
which is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, to kind of go in a different lane, but have you heard of this story? The Tennessee cop, the girl.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was just talking about that.
She said it was an open relationship, and he apparently was like, "This is news to me."
I mean, dude, open relationships are becoming I feel like every other person I meet is in one now.
It's getting to the point, and you know, going back to like the being freshly single now. It's odd, you know, where you are now coming across a few things from time to time where it's like, oh, this is the first time I've felt in my life where it's like, oh, I do feel like, I don't know if it's our generation, the generation below us, but it's like humanity is fucking with what the definition of traditional, you know, things are, and one of them being a relationship, you know, and it's like,
right, even especially in LA, like very progressive.
I think New York has it as well too.
I think it's awesome.
I'm not really. I feel like you're a
monogamous fella.
Yeah, I feel like I would not like. I don't know. I would not be able to.
There are definitely, I would imagine. I've never been in a situation like that, but I'm not opposed to it. But I think there's. I just think there's gonna be jealousy to some point. Like there's gonna be like a hierarchy,
right?
Because there has to be like some relationship between your partners too.
Right.
If it is, I guess a lot of, is it polyamory? Not it's polyamory.
Poly, yeah.
But
just go with that for short.
I guess like, is it usually your partners don't know each other sometimes? I guess they all interact to some degree if you want them to. But
yeah, I mean. I guess
we're probably the wrong people to be talking about.
Yeah, I mean, but that's why it makes it entertaining, right? Because it's like, listen to these two idiots that don't know what they're talking about, about this thing. You know? That's like,
I mean, these discussions have to be had, though.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
as dumb as they may be between you and I, but does it feel like being single again? You feel more on the prowl as a masculine male in LA. You know, like are you trying to date again?
No, I'm not trying to date. Right now, I was just talking about this with somebody the other day. Like, I'm still not like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm having my fun. I wouldn't consider myself on the prowl.
You're just going with the flow.
I'm definitely going with the flow. You know, I play a lot of gigs, and a lot of them are at, you know, like places where, you know, it's a little easier to kind of, you know, have, you know, meet some people here and there because you're doing something where it's like, attention grabbing thing.
Yeah.
And I've had some odd,
which is part of the reason anyone plays music
of
live.
course, it's definitely, part of the dream when you're a kid,
Yeah, just being on stage and just
people
looking at you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, but yeah, no, I'm not like, and I know a couple of my friends that are very much on the prowl type guys, and I've gone out maybe like a couple times with them, and every time I'm just like,
creepy.
It's like, yeah, this is not my vibe. I just feel like we're just like fucking like,
feels like college again.
It's not even college. It's just like, I don't need it. It's so obvious that it's like we have one goal tonight, and it's like, dude, can we just like fucking like
some dudes
hang out and chill? Like
some dudes, when they're in that environment, are super aggressive. Like they're just on it. Like
like, well, we should go talk to those girls over there. It's like, dude, like it's like not everything needs to be like, like okay, like all right, what's our next move? What's our next move? It's like I tend to find that usually when you're just fucking hanging out, man, you'll figure out and something will come your way. Like
right. I respect that strategy.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not like on the hunt or anything. I definitely know people that are doing that, but I've had some things that have kind of fallen in my lap here and there, and they're definitely been fun. But as far as like dating or anything goes, like I feel like I'm still like, I don't know, maybe like really honestly like 5 to 6 months until I would probably like seriously consider like doing that again, just because I
got you.
Feel like I still need to do a bunch of shit on my own, and like I'm still like, thinking about like the relationship a lot still, to the point where I feel like it's like, that's definitely not fair to anybody, that I would, if I'm starting a new thing with somebody, it's not fair to them, if I'm still occupied,
totally
that type of shit. But
do you remember before like the dating apps, people would like make like a little dating video profile, and it would be like, I don't know if it was like it was like it was a number you'd call.
Yeah.
To like,
I mean, I never made one.
No, I never made one,
but
but I'm thinking about that era of dating. Like it was just when
like 90s, 80s.
Yeah. I don't know what those videos are. It was like
you'd have to be
like infomercial type.
I don't know, man. You'd have to be though, like
very desperate.
Yeah, back then to be doing that. And I know that's not fair to say because everybody's doing it now, and I think that maybe like. I think it's a laziness thing that like why because it's like obviously like, but I don't know, like my parents were not doing that.
Well, think about all the places you could realistically meet people. Either you're set up by family before, like how restricted it was, or you go to a fucking bar.
Or my parents worked,
or you work together,
kind of close. Like I think they worked in the same building or something like that. Like it's like I think that's a big thing too. You meet people back then maybe through a working type of situation down the hall type. I don't know.
That's super common. Yeah, for sure.
I met my ex that way actually. We worked. We started working. We both worked at Warner.
Right.
And then thankfully after when we first started seeing each other for the first 2 months, it was completely like secret. We were like running around like Warner, basically. It's not like we were like running around in Warner, but like we kept our stuff totally a secret from everybody. And then
like you can't just be fucking in the storage closet,
or we just didn't even want anybody to know that, like, because I didn't want,
which would be sick though. That'd be a great life experience.
And then I ended up finding actually, which was hilarious, that like this girl that used to work over there, she told us that like there was like a mother's room, like a milking room or something like that, like
what?
A room like like a lot of places, like pump or something. Yeah. And they would her and her boyfriend that also worked there, they would just go in there and hook up all the time during the day.
That's awesome, dude.
So yeah, I was like, wow, like this shit.
I think a lot of places of business low-key have an area like hospitals are notorious because there's young nurses and
nurses, man. Yeah. Nurses are wild. Nurses are. I've dated.
God bless them, dude.
Yeah, the work they're doing, but on a dating level, I tend to find that there's a trend with
they're fun. Is what you're
saying?
Fun,
and also like life in the fast lane. Sometimes
they're doing crazy shit.
You crash and burn out. Like
dude. I couldn't imagine having to deal with bullet wounds like every day.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, I couldn't, like, I don't consider myself really a squeamish person, but just to be like around that all the time.
Yeah, there's gotta be, because you see the grosses of the gross in a hospital. Like the average person who doesn't spend any time in a hospital can't even fathom the shit going through their doors.
Right. That's why it was hilarious when we had fucking mouth breathing idiots like telling when the pandemic was happening, you know, like how they should be. You know, it's like telling the nurses. It's like,
yeah. Yeah, like the EMTs, like a paramedic, the first dude picking up these poor saps that have to go to a hospital in the first place. Like those guys are like seeing the messes.
what's the most like gory or graphic thing you've ever seen like in real life?
I've ever seen. That's tough. I wouldn't say I've seen anything that crazy.
I got a gnarly one.
Okay, go ahead.
I was working in 2018. I was in between. I had just left Interscope, and this is before I started working at Warner. And I was working at my brother's surf camp in Malibu, and this camp is right at the end of Zuma Beach, and PCH is like right where the beach is.
Okay.
And it's one day I'm working there and we're coming up for lunchtime. Like, so everybody's like coming out of the water, you know, and we're coming out in the sand. And we just hear like what sounds like a bunch of just like, it sounded like thunder actually, just and then a massive like just tire screech and bang.
Oh.
And there was this dude who was this like local homeless, you know, lived in his car, surf bum guy that people knew. Like some of the guys that like worked at the camp like knew this guy. He had like gotten completely wasted and was just like going like 120 miles an hour down PCH. And there were a bunch of like center divider things in the middle of the street. And he like lost control of his car and hit those things. That's what the thumbs were. Rolled his car like 20 times. And then on the other side of PCH, fucking poor souls, this car was leaving a spot. It was a dad and their son leaving the beach. And the car slammed right into that car. Killed the dad.
Oh my God.
Driver was killed too. And the kid had to be airlifted out of there to go to UCLA or something like that.
Damn.
So this is right in front of where the camp is. And so
you were right there.
Myself and all the instructors, we're all like CPR trained and, you know, like all like lifeguards and stuff. And some of the guys that work at the camp are like legit like California State lifeguards. And, you know, so we all run immediately to the scene to go see if we can like help, you know, and stupidly we all run barefoot, you know, where there's glass all over, you know, which was a fucking dumbass move. But so we all run over there and we kind of like split up and a couple people go. And cause at this point too, like, there's like a big like traffic pile starting to happen up in PCH because it's like the truck or the like it was like a little like minivan type thing, and it was like kind of flipped over and like hanging, half of it was hanging over like the main, like one of the main intersect or lanes on PCH, so it was like blocking off the road. So we like took a bunch of cones and like set up a kind of perimeter like around the car and kind of like directed traffic to go around it because it, you know, the cops it took a few minutes and like for, you know, the paramedics and cops and all these things to show up. Yeah. And so I go with this other dude, this Australian guy. His I don't know what his real name is, but everybody called him Beach. Great. And so me and this dude Beach, we like run over to the van to see if we can try and help the dude because we didn't know if
how injured he was.
Yeah. And so what I see when I look into the car is this dude's seat the driver's seat had been launched all the way back to the back of the van. There was a pole like impaled like it
Oh
through
my
his
God.
mouth, through the back of his head.
No.
And his jaw was like if you took somebody's jaw and just pulled it down. So it was just hanging down. And so I see that and I'm just like,
You can't even process
holy, yeah. And I just turn around and walk away. And then Beach, well, I didn't walk away because then Beach is putting his hands up to the guy's neck. Check his pulse. And I remember saying to him, yo, Beach, he's dead. He's very dead.
Damn.
And he's like, I'm just checking. And I'm like, no, he's super dead, man. And so, yeah, then we walk away and and then the cops all start showing up and they all told us basically to get out of there.
Oh,
and
man.
thanks for the help. But then we took, before the cops got there, we did take like a bunch of beach towels and stuff. And we just covered the windows of the car so you couldn't see this dude because it was like so graphic. You didn't want to see it.
Oh man, dude. Yeah. Obviously you were the first responder in that situation.
Yeah. But then my brother, man, I mean, I'm pretty sure
your brother was with you.
Yeah. So my brother he's like works the camp too.
Oh yeah.
And he was part of the crew that split up and went to go help over the truck with the dad and the kid. And I'm pretty sure that my brother, oh, actually, no, I forgot. There was a bicyclist that was riding down PCH and was hit by either the car that was trying to leave. He was hit in this way as well, too. And I don't think he was critically injured, but he was definitely seriously injured. And my brother and a few of like the other guys we were working with, I think were doing CPR to him. And so it's just like, yeah, it was like all these dudes that were just like, it's a totally interesting crew because it's like all these guys that, you know, they all look like, you know, and I don't look like this at all, but my brother does. They all look like very stereotypical, like, you know, bleach blonde, fried skin because they're in the sun all the time.
Yeah.
You know, they talk all like, you know, like, oh yeah, dude, you know, all this type of stuff. And, you know, but then when it comes to like a life and death situation, seeing these dudes like snap into it, it's just
because they're all trained.
They're all trained, but they're also like, you know, they're all, and I don't know if it's, you know, because they're used to, you know, maybe surfing big waves or whatever, but they're all like, you know, they can just stay calm.
There's a maturity to
in a stressful situation.
Yeah. That's such a good point of, those are basically like EMTs on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always looked up to those fucking dudes who like will paddle out 1,000 yards or something to someone getting ripped away from a riptide.
Yeah.
But damn, dude, that's such a crazy fucking story.
I haven't thought about that in a while. And then the funny thing too is then maybe like 2 or 3 days later, maybe not even, maybe it might have been the next day, I was driving and I got pulled over on PCH because I was speeding. And I don't think I was speeding, honestly. I might have been going like 5 or 10 miles, like not that crazy. This cop pulled me over and he's kind of a dick. And then I forgot how I brought it up, or maybe he did, but somehow the accident was mentioned because it was just a few days ago. Mm. And it was kind of a big story. It was definitely like in like LA because I mean, it was like 2 people died and the kid was, you know, it was like a big accident. And I think PCH might have been like closed for a few hours, which is also another big story. And the cop, like I had told the cop, I was like one of the first, I worked at the surf camp and I was like there on the scene of that accident. And he was kind of like, all right, I'll let you go with the warning, you know, like because of that. But like, you know, the reason why we're out now is because of that guy, you know, like he just killed a person, you know, it's like.
Well, dude, people don't realize you're driving a giant metal death trap that is going 100 miles an hour. Yeah. If you're like maxing out on the highway, you're doing probably 80 on average.
Yeah.
And so, like obviously he was on PCH. It's a faster street.
He was also though like wasted though.
He fucked up, yeah.
Because that was the other thing I forgot to mention is that there were literal, and I think you could even see it in the news like video report because you can look this up. There were on the ground of PCH, there were like plastic Smirnoff bottles that had like exploded from his car after it rolled and shit. So and people that I had worked with, they kind of knew the dude, And they were like, yeah, like I think he was going through some shit the last few days because I think the like last few times I'd seen him, he was just like plastered. Like, because I think, I mean, I don't know the guy, but he apparently was supposed to be like kind of a local cool dude that like, you know, was a surfer, but like, you know, lived in the van and was at probably like just all, you know, one of the Malibu beaches, was there for, you know, 10, 20 years or whatever. And,
Yeah.
And people kind of knew him, but apparently, I don't know, like, he lost his way and then just, you know.
Some people just snap.
Like that he might have been trying to kill himself.
Yeah.
Like, you know, going that fast, driving drunk in the middle of the day, you know, like.
Yeah. If he survived, he would have just been in jail forever.
Oh, yeah, forever, for sure.
It's almost like, yeah, it's kind of for the best.
Yeah, but then you get fucking like, you know, and I know this is going to be problematic to say, but then you get like Caitlyn Jenner who kills a person and then, you know.
Right.
They just.
I don't know that story and I've always heard it. And it's hard to fathom that happened.
People forget.
And no one knows. Most people don't even know that story. Somehow, like, her PR team got onto that.
She ran for president after that.
Right.
And that was like not really even talked about. I think South Park talked about it more than anybody else did.
Right,
yeah.
right. I think South Park made it more mainstream.
Yeah.
Man,
as they did with a lot of other things.
That was a great character, though. Like,
yeah, the VP candidate to Mr. Garrison.
Oh my God. Well, dude, did you watch the last season of South Park?
I haven't seen the last few.
Because I know you're a big South Park.
I probably I'd say the first like I don't know, maybe 15 to like 17 or 20. Like I've seen most of South Park. I've just only the last few years I haven't really watched as much. But the last season I did see was the one with like PC Principal, and there was the whole storyline with the other girl being like a plant or something like that. Yeah, I mean I
haven't really been super into the South. Like I watch them and I enjoy them, but I don't know. They just haven't been hitting the same.
When a show is on for too long, it's just not going to be like I loved The Simpsons and I loved Family Guy, and I haven't watched both of those shows in like The Simpsons probably like 10 years and Family Guy maybe like 5 to 7, because it's just
I actually still watch them, but it's nowhere as good as it was. It was like now it's I don't know. They just do the same jokes and same stereotypical quips of each character.
Yeah, it's just only so many places.
You don't. A show doesn't need to be 30 years long.
Yeah, anything. Yeah, it's just nothing. Anything long that would be. It's just not going to be good.
It just makes so much money. But I want to say one other thing because this isn't super gory or anything. But I remember probably the most gory thing that comes to mind, because I haven't seen. I've seen like some dead people or whatever, but nothing like you saw.
Yeah.
And but one of the weirdest things, when I was in high school, my senior year, I took AP biology, and we did this field trip to DePaul downtown. We went into like the cadaver lab, and you just look around. There's like 8 dead bodies around you. And it's the same thing of going to like the morgue in the hospital or whatever. But these are like super like old bodies.
Oh yeah.
And it's like dude, you just look around and like these were fucking people.
I was never smart enough to be in AP Bio or any AP class for that matter.
Neither was I, but I was for some reason.
And but my science class that I was in was next to the class that did have the cadavers, so I only got to smell them.
Oh, yeah. The formaldehyde smell is such a nasty one.
But I always felt ripped off because it was like, I don't get to see them, but I just get to fucking smell it. It's like, no, I want to see the thing that...
You could probably walk in there, right? Or you have to sign some...
They were pretty... It was a pretty like, yo, you got to be like... It's like, smart enough to be in here with this. And
You're just playing guitar next to some...
Yeah, I'm just like, I want to see the bodies. And also, when you just said that, like about like, being in high school and there's just like these bodies surrounded you, I just kind of got like depressed. Like if I'm like, when it's all said and done for me after my whole life, and if you're telling me that like,
well, they donated their bodies,
but do they know that they're going to be donated to high school students? It's like one thing if you're like, okay, maybe I'm going to be like, some scientists are going to find, it's like, yo, like 16 to 17-year-old kids are going to be like these dumbass kids that are probably not even going to study anything that has to do with cadet.
They're just going to rip me apart. Like, why can't it be in a PhD's
they're going to talk about, the big highlight of my body is them being like, yo, the fucking guy was gross at lunch. That was it. Like,
yeah. Or they're talking about your dead dick or something.
Yeah. Yo, dude, that fucking dead guy's dick was gross.
Yeah, I don't know if high schoolers are.
And that's your legacy when it's all said and done.
I'm surprised you were doing that in high school with real bodies. You weren't doing like pigs or shit.
There were real bodies in this one class. Yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure. Rare. I'm pretty sure there were. I don't know if it was there maybe were two. Maybe there was a body, but there definitely was a cadaver, and I'm pretty sure it was from UCLA. Like that was like, because I remember always being like, where the fuck do we get it from? And it was like, yeah, it's from UCLA. I'm like, is it somebody's dad or something? Yeah.
He was just the guy. He dropped out freshman
every year we get a new one.
The first person who drops out every year is immediately donated to science.
Yeah, we get a new one every year. It's a new guy. just rolling, man.
Did you ever know, because I didn't go to like a Big Ten. It's not a Big Ten.
My college?
Like, were there sports?
Oh, fuck no.
No.
I can see why you might be get confused because there's UC Berkeley.
Yeah.
But they're spelled differently. So UC Berkeley, Berkeley,
right.
is in Berkeley, California, up north, which is like near the Bay and San Jose.
And isn't really known for music. Yours is what's known for.
Berkeley, which is Berklee. That's in Boston, and that's like the school that like John Mayer and I was there when Charlie Puth was there,
right?
And there's a few other people that have came and went. And
if you're at the Big Ten school, I would imagine everyone there knows who's the mascot, and like if you were the mascot, I don't know.
I feel like there's multiple ones though.
Yeah, there's got to be a couple.
Yeah.
You're not.
I don't think there's a guy that's the mascot anymore. At least maybe back in the day, like maybe in like the 80s or maybe even the 90s.
It's probably the same. It's the same costume, the same sweaty costume they all have to get into.
I don't know, man. There's just like there's so much money now in college sports that I just feel like there's got to probably be like 6 mascots of whatever, at SC, they got that guy.
Totally.
That's the Tommy Trojan. I'm sure they've probably got like 6 different dudes that are doing that,
And then it gets to like going pro, where you somehow become Benny the Bull, Do you know Benny the Bull for the Bulls? He's like super athletic.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the same guy.
He does like all the trampoline shit.
Yeah, he does crazy shit.
Yeah, he can dunk and everything.
And I don't know how he does that in that mask, but dude, I'm sure he's getting paid a pretty penny.
I don't know.
I think he is, dude. I think he's low key. He's probably pulling 3 figures. Because that's a long season, dude.
It's a long season, but
should I look up how much he gets paid?
Like, yeah. I mean,
oh my god.
Dude,
he's making $400K a year.
Get the fuck out of
here. No way, dude. He's
and it's a guy. It's not like they don't.
Harry the Hawk. I don't know what team that is, but he earns $600K a year.
Yo, the worst worst one is the gritty guy. The
Shaggy.
No, his name's Gritty. He's the Flyers mascot, I think.
Let me look this up.
And he's like a troll.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you've seen this dude.
Yeah. For the Philadelphia Flyers.
I think so. Yeah, for the hockey team. And he's an annoying one. And then the one for the Colts, I forgot what his name is, but he's the one that like does the shit where he he can like move his like stomach. So he does like this all the time.
It's such a great, such a funny little part of our culture, isn't it?
I would want to be. Have you seen them? Like there's like a trend going on the last year where they like do these like during like halftime or whatever, where
like the races and shit.
No, they'll like play football against little kids.
I haven't seen that. I guess I've seen that.
Some of these mascots recently have like been like, I don't give a fuck how old you are, and they're like trucking and just like shoving these kids down. It's awesome.
It makes for great television.
That is what I would want to do. I would fucking love right now to be playing kids like 10 years old. Oh,
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I mean,
hell yeah.
If you were a linebacker, like in your current,
no, I wouldn't want. I would want to be running the ball.
Well, yeah, that's what
I want to be running them over.
All right, let's say you're the running back. and it's a whole line of children, you would first of all, your knees would be just if you were just running, your knees would just hit them right in the jaw.
Yep. high stepping over them, just kicking them.
That would be great television.
Just for fun, picking one up, throwing them while I have the ball in my other hand, it'd be great.
You gotta start the league, my man.
And the sad part too is there would definitely be parents that would
sign their kids up.
Yeah, if they knew it was like, you're like, oh, my kid would be on TV. It's this league,
Well, it's the same thing. Like, it's kind of despicable that, not despicable, but like a child like actor. I guess there are child actors that like from early on, they're like, I want to act.
I'm sure there are a lot of them, but
there's definitely parents that just throw them in it.
Yeah.
Because.
No, I'm sure it's like, like a pageant kid essentially. But you're going to auditions all the time. You're like, I just want to go hang out with my friends.
I always think about my dog. If I could somehow train her better to be like one of the Petco dogs.
Yeah.
Like it's gotta be a couple grand for your pup. You know?
I mean, or get it in the movies, like a Lassie or something.
Like Air Bud. I bet he had like 15 sequels.
He was in something else as well, too. I think he might have been in Full House.
Was it the same golden retriever?
I think so.
No fucking way.
I'm pretty sure. And if I get this right.
Air Bud, I don't even know what to look up.
I think it might have been this.
His name was Buddy. This is IMDb.
He's got a Wikipedia, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man. It was founded by Kevin DeSicco as a stray dog in the Sierra Nevada in the summer of 1989. Wow, dude, this is rags to riches.
For real, the stray dog is actually.
Wow, he was cast as Buddy in the 1997 Disney film Air Bud.
So it's not so Full House was before that. So they're not the same.
His early appearances was in America's Funniest Home Videos, Late Night with David. I don't think it's the same dog.
Okay, never mind. Fuck myself.
They're probably related.
There's some. Then who's the dog from Full House? That dog was in something else, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe like
Comet.
Okay, so what was Comet in?
These poor dogs. And then sad that they only had like 8 years of a career. You know.
Well, I mean, I'm looking that up too.
Like they could have had a long, successful career. Dude, they kept breeding them. They were all. Like, all of his descendants are named Comet.
Comet 1, Comet 2.
Comet Jr., Comet Jr., Cosmo, Comet Jr. Dude, that's great.
But now I see that on this about this Buddy, that Buddy was touted as the Michael Jordan of dogs. Oh, and the Scottie Pippen too. Wow, what a fucking
damn.
Wow. Not only that, you're Michael and Scottie. Wow.
Dude, and
I loved Air Bud actually.
I remember looking very fondly upon that movie. But I remember one where like he was like stopping heists and shit too. Like he was stopping like
he I think he played every sport. There was definitely one where he played hockey, which is like what?
Yeah.
I remember the football one.
But dude, the owners of that dog must have made so much money.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And then, probably even now, there's probably still writing like.
There's got to be some residuals.
Oh, not even residuals. I wouldn't be surprised if they're still like, doing maybe like, some type of like, come meet the parents of, Air Bud, I don't know, something related. That's still.
Oh, that would be such a gross exploitation.
Sad. Yeah, it's probably sad. It's probably not even gross. It's probably just sad if anything. It's like, guys.
Have you ever been to like a Comic-Con thing?
I went to Comic-Con one time. My ex-girlfriend, the girlfriend before that, was from San Diego and was like really into it, but not in like a cosplay way or anything. And I remember being really surprised about that because she was not like that at all. But she would just be like, it's really cool because it's
kind of fun,
And I actually do, after going to it, remember thinking like, oh, okay, I get it. Because she was like, it's cool. You just get to like see like panels of shows and, get to see like, actors and stuff. And at the time, I was a really big fan of a Family Guy because this was like 2013 or 14. So I was still watching it pretty regularly. And I remember going to the Family Guy panel and being like, this is awesome. Like, so yeah, I definitely.
So you saw like Seth MacFarlane and shit?
Seth MacFarlane nice. And and like Alex Borstein and the dude that does like the voice of Joe.
I love it. I don't remember his name, but
and then the guy who ended up stopped doing it, but the guy who does the voice of like Cleveland and he was there too. Yeah, it was great, and they would all yeah. That's nasty.
Oh man, there's so many so many great characters on that show. Chris.
Yeah, Chris. Some popsicles.
Some popsicles in my saddle.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Thanks. You gotta do like the whistling.
Yeah. I can't do it. I have a buddy who can do it so good.
I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, it's I think his name's Mike something. Yeah.
I think you're right.
Yeah, but yeah, so that was awesome, and I'm pretty sure we went to see. I think before that was maybe. It was either before or after, but the Simpsons panel was also there too. And that was really cool too, because those guys that are on the Simpsons, like those guys are legendary, like Hank Astaire, those guys are all like legendary. So that was really cool to see. And I'm pretty sure that when I was there, it was like, do you remember when Family Guy and the Simpsons did an episode together?
Yeah, I just watched that like a couple weeks ago.
Okay, so it was like, they announced that at that Comic-Con.
That was a good episode.
And they showed a clip of it. And I remember being like really impressed by it. Because I remember thinking like, I don't know, I think this might fucking suck.
Because they somehow let Family Guy do its crude bullshit with The Simpsons.
Well, yeah. I think what they needed to do was they needed to let Family Guy shit on The Simpsons as much as they can. Because that's like what makes it work. It's like The Simpsons were there first. And so, but like, Family Guy is definitely, at the time, I think was maybe the more popular show. And so, yeah, but yeah, so I think that's what we ended up seeing. And that was just so cool too, because that was like, we got to see a clip before it was out, and I think it was maybe the clip of the families meeting each other for the first time. Yeah, it was really awesome. But that's the only time I've ever gone to. But it's like, you got to get like up early.
Yeah. It's a whole weekend. I mean, it's usually like 2 weekends.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, it's funny. Like, I love voice actors, and I respect.
And impressions too. I feel like impressions.
Yeah. Because it's like the cream of the crop voice actors can pull out so many characters out of nowhere.
I mean, look at like Dana Carvey, like listen to that podcast. It's like boom, this guy, boom, that guy. And it's just like, damn, I wish I could do that. It's just
And you listen to I think I saw some like BTS or like all of them. Like you see Matt Stone and Trey Parker or like Tom Kenny for SpongeBob. They're doing all these voices in succession, like of characters, and just saying them as like they have multiple personalities, and it's like it's so impressive.
Seeing like Seth MacFarlane do like a Brian and Stewie talking to each other is wild, and that's like those are two characters that do that very regularly, and so they have episode specials together and stuff. So it's like crazy that it's like you got to go switch. And I don't think that, I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that he doesn't do like a separate take. I think it's literally like he'll just do like, voice. No,
totally.
Yeah,
it probably saves him a lot of time.
Yeah, and money probably too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I submit to like casting calls for like voiceover shit every once in a while. And I did this one. I haven't done like anything like of importance, like that I've gotten paid for. But this one thing I was doing was for like this HBO show, but they were translating it for the Philippines.
Oh shit!
And so I was doing English. Like subtitles.
I think I can remember you telling me this.
Yeah, I was doing like the English overdub of this. No. So it's vice versa. It was like a Philippine show.
And you were doing the English.
Yeah. For like a handful of characters. And it was so funny. Like, it was just so bizarre. Like, it was like one of the few voiceover gigs I've had too. So like being thrown into like, some other language.
Now, are they giving you, in something like that, are they giving you a direction as to like how to
There was a director there, and he was coaching me on different lines and shit. It was so easy too.
Right.
It was like I wasn't matching voices.
Right.
Like with lips.
Yeah. You're just saying the line how you want to say it.
Yeah. But But yeah, half the time I'm like screaming because it was like an action movie.
Oh yeah.
so I'm like just like yelling.
Get in the chopper.
Yeah, just dumb lines, but it was fun though. Like I would love to get more jobs like that, but
I've never done a voiceover before. I don't know if I'd be
because you can do it from home.
Yeah. Oh, easily. I mean, you got the whole equipment and everything.
Yeah.
But is this something that you need to like?
Have a reel for?
Not even a reel, but do you like need to be like part of a union or something, like a voiceover union or?
I don't know. I mean, they didn't ask me shit.
Yeah, so then all right, sounds like
Yeah, like the actors union. You can't even get like gigs if you're not part of like SAG.
Yeah, that's the whole world I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, I'm not deep in that at all. Actually, tomorrow I have her name's Cassie Mejia, and she's kind of a blossoming actor and director in LA, but she's part of SAG, so I'm gonna learn a lot about that tomorrow.
Oh, there you go. You get your SAG rundown. Yeah.
You get real saggy.
Sounds very exciting.
Are you part of? Is there like a musicians guild thing?
Yeah, there's the union.
There's Are you part of something?
No, there's 2 unions. There's a union for musicians and there's a union for singers. There's the AFM, which is the American Federation for Musicians, which is one for musicians, and then there's the
what do they do?
They
just like leveraging wages.
Yeah, for mostly like session musicians and
that makes sense.
And I guess live musicians as well too. From my experience, especially on like the music licensing side of things, it's usually session players that were on the records.
Dude, I love that world, especially like if you were tied to a studio pretty firmly that was always churning out like the best of the best studios back in the prime of labels and shit, like the 80s, 90s, 70s. Like what was that? What was that one girl's name for the bassist for like all of Pet Sounds? You know what I'm talking about? But she was on so many hit songs.
Yes, I can't remember it off the top of her name. Her name
Peggy.
She wore glasses. She wore those like cat eye glasses.
Was it Peggy?
I watched that documentary on her, and she was in the Hit Crew.
Yeah, the Hit Crew.
Yeah,
and they wrote so many fucking hits.
She's still alive.
She is still alive.
Yeah, she's still alive because I remember looking her up not that long ago.
Carol Kay.
Carol Kay. There you go.
Yeah, dude. What a fucking legend.
Yeah, she's a legend, and Hit Crew was different though.
The Wrecking Crew.
Sorry, the Wrecking Crew. Yes, the Wrecking Crew. Well,
I mean, it was all through the '60s and '70s mostly.
Yeah, but hearing them talk about you meant Pet Sounds, I think that a lot of those players have gone on record saying that was the most like out of all the things that these guys have played, which are hundreds and hundreds of like notable and classic records. They said that the Pet Sound sessions were the most like
intense,
not even intense, but just like musically challenging, and they might not want to admit it, but I think at the time they might have been like, "What are we doing?"
Yeah.
But now when you because I watched a bunch of talk, now they're all like,
because Wilson was just a fucking maniac.
Now they're all like, we clearly now see that it's like it was a genius at work.
Yeah.
You know?
Dude, and the fact Brian Wilson was only one of his ears worked. Everything was in mono for him.
I did not know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
He could only hear out of one ear.
Was that something that?
But everything was in mono, so it wasn't a huge deal.
That's true, but was that something that something he was born with, or something that he developed, or?
I think it developed when he was young. I read his biography. I can't totally remember. I read it like 5 years ago. But yeah, I mean, he's a weird guy now.
Oh,
he had a mental break, and then
he's schizophrenic.
Yeah, and that doctor like drugged the fuck out of him.
Oh yeah, did you ever see that movie
with Paul Dano?
Yeah,
so good.
It's a great movie. Yeah, Love and Mercy.
Yeah, and dude, I mean, like
John Cusack. Such an odd casting choice for that one.
Dude, he's got some hits under his belt.
Because Paul Dano, I thought was fantastic in that role. Like, he's a great actor. Just
he's so good.
I mean, he's great at the Joker and a bunch of other things. But
that was a good result.
But Brian Wilson is a dude I can talk about forever. He's fucking genius. But sad, like.
Yeah, what happened to his brain?
Sad what happened to him and him getting taken advantage of. And
I think
Britney before Britney.
True,
Yeah.
and it was Britney. I remember what's his name from Pink Floyd,
Sid Barrett.
Sid Barrett. Like he started the fucking band. He was the one writing everything.
Yeah, but that was a very different Pink Floyd. Like Pink Floyd.
The Pink Floyd we know.
We can talk about this as well all day.
Yeah, dude. Hell yeah.
That Pink Floyd was very psychedelic.
Yeah.
For better and for worse. What also allowed when Sid Barrett was no longer, when that was his band, that he was the leader of that group. That was his group. He was doing, like you said, he was doing the writing. He was the primary. That was his group. But then you get Roger Waters, who is, being basically kind of put to the side and not really allowing to express, what he wants to be doing.
Sure.
And really, that's a massive, as much as I hate to admit it, because I hate him as a person.
Roger.
He's
kind of went out the deep end lately.
Well, and also he's like very like anti-Semitic. Like he's not a fan of the Jews.
Is he?
Yeah, so it's kind of like, all right, I'm out on you. But you don't get that Roger, and Roger Waters is is the brains behind a lot of the Pink Floyd that we know of today.
Yeah, all the hits.
I mean, The Wall is the story of Roger Waters' life.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, sadly, by that point, the rest of the guys in Pink Floyd were like, we're not like even doing. And the same thing happened with a lot of other bands. The same shit happened with Guns N' Roses.
Right. I mean, dude, it's
like Axl's thing by the end, and all those guys were like, all right, whatever. You want to spend $2 million on November Rain, the music video, then we're not.
It was worth it.
Yeah, you're telling me.
That was worth every penny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, bands are tough because it's like to be a highly successful band, it's inevitable for egos to arise, especially when a lot of money starts coming in. The same thing with, I remember Billy Corgan talking about Smashing Pumpkins. He was getting all the residuals for the songs because it was just his name on them.
I've known some people that kind of ran into some circles of the original members of the Smashing Pumpkins. And yeah, they've all said that like especially, I can't remember the original guitar player of Smashing Pumpkins. I can't remember his name. He was the Asian guy. He really got screwed out. That Billy Corgan really kind of like
he fucked them.
All of them. And don't be wrong, big integral part of what they are, but basically kind of went back and like rewrote history as to like, these original guys, they had literally nothing to do with anything. It's like, that's just
it's horse shit.
You know who else I just read recently who did that, which I kind of really fucking had never known this, but was Stephen Jenkins, who's the lead singer of Third Eye Blind.
Oh, yeah.
Like I was reading the other day that he basically, like him and this other guy who was a guitar player, they both founded Third Eye Blind together. And then they recorded like basically what is the first record, which is, in my opinion, one of the best like records like ever. I love that's like the one that has like, all their big hits on it.
Yeah.
And they ended up getting signed off of like basically those songs. And then the record comes out and the record's a massive hit. And then the lead singer goes and forms Third Eye Blind like Incorporated and basically and forms it without that the other guys like like knowledge about it. And then basically when he tells him that, the guy was like, okay, so this is now going to basically be like my company, and this company is going to own basically the recordings. And the other guy was like, I'm not signing off on that. And then they basically just kicked him out of the band. And then and then signed everything over to him, so that now I think, and then they ended up releasing.
And this is the band. I wish you would step back from.
This is that record, yeah. And then they ended up releasing, I think maybe a few years after that, like a greatest hits record, which is still like if you look up like that's like probably the one that everybody like still uses today.
Yeah.
And in the liner notes, they didn't have the other guy's name mentioned once in anything.
Wow.
And it's just like, what are you guys doing? Like people, it's like we remember, we know he was there, we saw it. It was only a few years ago. You can't just like,
yeah.
It's like when like an NCAA championship is taken away because of like a violation. It's like we remembered it like they did it to SC, and like it's like we remember this happened. You could say it didn't happen, but we remember it. There's proof of it and everything. Like you taking it away is what does that mean? Like
I think it's gotten a lot more liberal with who's getting percentages. Yeah, I think people just felt like the ownership was very much more important back then, and just a bit more selfish with it. Like now, it's like you walk in the room when they're writing a song just to drop off lunch, and you'll get a point. You know, you know. And but I think like Lennon and McCartney, like why wasn't Ringo and George getting a slice of it? It just wasn't like that.
Yeah. Well, like, I think those guys knew, especially like maybe not so much George, but maybe like I think Ringo probably knew like I'm not as good of a writer as them. So like if I can't be the one that's like leading this because it will not be as good and successful.
Was it also like chords and melody? I don't know, like I don't totally understand how that was divvied up.
Well, I think those two guys definitely
it was clear they wrote the 90% of the songs.
Yeah, but then I think it was a combination of like I think they were just better writers when they were younger.
Yeah.
And it took a little I know it definitely took a little bit of time for George and for Ringo to feel confident enough to be able to write songs. And I think that maybe when they started because I don't think that George ended up getting a song maybe until maybe the third or fourth record on there.
Yeah.
And then and even maybe, and you can tell, I mean, like the early songs, they're not like great, you know, they're just like whatever. And I think that, you know, it took a little bit of time. And then I also might have think in George's instance too, it might have been a thing where, you know, he might have been not so vocal to speak up about records. You know, he was the shy one after all.
Yeah. What was like your first band that you just like fell in love, or artist that you just fell in love with, where you were like?
It's Eric Clapton.
Yeah, Clapton.
Yeah, definitely Eric Clapton.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he was the guy that like I mean, my dad's a massive fan of him, his as well too. I mean, that was definitely, I think, his favorite artist as well. But like, I don't know, like what I like wanted to be like him. Yeah. Not him as a person, but like I wanted to be
coke the fuck out.
The heroin addict with you know, like 17 different families and
cocaine
and an alcoholic, and he should be dead 7 times over. Honestly, all those guys should. But
yeah, dude.
But yeah, as far as like, just being like, you know, he was the first guy really that I was like, this is, you know, I just loved everything that he did and loved, you know, his guitar playing and singing and his songs, and he was my favorite. But then like, you know, all the other like guitar heroes like started floating in, like, you know, then, you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan and you know, Hendrix and
they're all the same vein of blues driven.
Yeah, I started to get, you know, Peter Frampton was another guy that I'd listened to a lot when I was younger. I feel like he doesn't get as much love as all these other guys.
I love Peter Frampton.
I love Peter Frampton. Like I think,
possibly the best live album.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it was for a long time. It was actually the best selling live album. But
I can't imagine like if you were at that show and
San Francisco.
Was it that where it was?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Like all those shows. Actually, low-key, the Tame Impala's like last live album was in Chicago from like 7 years ago. And it was like a small club at like the Riv.
That's awesome.
The Riviera. And yeah, it was probably like a 600 for cap room.
Yeah, it's pretty small.
I think that was the first time I saw him live. But yeah, when you look back on those concerts and you're like, fuck, man, I'm glad I was there. Just every concert, it's a memory, especially if you aren't super musical, where all of going to a concert is more of a treat. Right. You know, like we're always close to shows in some regard or something.
I'm having to remind myself that more now, because, you know, because I do, you know, also work in music like during the day, like as like full-time job.
Yeah.
Like I have to go to shows a lot, and it got to the point where I was starting to get like kind of annoyed with it and not going, or I would get tickets to these shows and just not go to them and be like it would just be kind of annoying at some point because it would be like, I don't know, maybe I got other shit going on. I just don't want to go to,
a show every weekend.
It'd be like not a weekend, like they'd be during the week. Like it'd be like, okay, like I don't want to go to the Wheelchair on a Wednesday night after, like, it's just like,
driving all over
all
LA.
this stuff. And especially myself who lives on the West Side, there are never any shows. There's no venues on the West Side, so all the shows are all like,
deep downtown,
downtown, East Side, so like all that stuff, So, going to the Wheelchair is like a trek and shit like that for me. But, I've like had to kind of remind myself like recently that like there are a lot of people that like do not do anything close to this like in their lives as far as like, what they do for a living, and they would love to be going to, go see the Black Keys,
Totally,
and it's like, and some concerts are definitely concerts where you're like, okay, like I only know maybe one or two of these songs for this person, so maybe I'm not going to feel too bad about it.
Yeah.
But some of these concerts are like, like, okay, this is a big show that people would definitely be like, you're just not going to use these tickets? Like, what do you mean? Like,
yeah, well, people don't understand when you're a musician too, like, or like audio, whatever, and your ears just don't want to listen to shit at the end of the day.
Well, like you just said it like before we started recording, you were saying that you like listen to podcasts more. And it's like, that's like how I was for a little bit. Like I was like not listening to music. It's like, I was like, I don't know, just kind of checked out on it and not really like I rather would listen to, a conversation when I'd be driving or doing whatever than listening to music. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, I was just like finishing, spent the last like 6 months finishing like this new record that I was doing. And when you're fucking writing music all day, like I'm not gonna listen to music when I'm in the car. I just don't want to fucking think about music.
Right. Yeah.
Because it's energy depleting.
Right.
I couldn't imagine because you're doing those fucking shows like 1 a.m. and shit sometimes, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, like when you were saying like diving into something when you recently get single, what I fucking dove into was playing gigs.
Yeah.
And that kind of like saved me a lot, honestly. It was like, because I was kind of like, I mean, like, oh, what you were saying is like diving back into the buddies, like, and like hanging out with friends and stuff. And like, that's definitely something I've been like trying to do as well too. But like another thing that I also try to really do is like to kind of lean back into like, the like gigging and just playing as much as I can. And and it's fun, but there's definitely like that period of time, like especially because there's a period. I'm right now probably playing maybe like 3 to 4 gigs a week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's great, it's great, for finance reasons. It's great for exposure reasons. It's great for, for chops reasons. Playing that much, you're only going to get better. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. But, that's just, and these gigs are 3 to 4 hours, and I'm, for the most part, usually playing alone.
Yeah.
It's a shitload of music.
That's exhausting,
That's
bro.
a shitload of music. So that's, I'm probably playing and singing, I don't know, anywhere between like 200 and 250 songs a week.
That's awesome.
And it's great. But
how's your throat feel at the end of the week?
Sometimes it feels like shit. I definitely kind of have this like lingering cough right now that's going on. But I'm, and I need to do a better job about it. I'm a fucking idiot when it comes to like taking care of my voice and stuff. Yeah. And the reason why that is because like, I'm like, very dumb brain when it comes to like, I don't consider myself a singer. I didn't grow up being a singer. I just sang because I like doing it, but I've never taken a vocal lesson. I didn't go to school for I went to college for guitar. Like guitar is like what I don't want to limit myself to being like, I'm not a singer, I'm only a guitar player. Like for the most part, every gig I do, I'm singing in it.
Right.
But like when I see singers, like I just did a session with this girl last week, and before we started tracking a song, she starts doing all these like, these vocal warm-ups and shit. And I was like kind of looking at her, and she's like, do you not do vocal warm-ups? I'm like, no, I just start singing. And she was like, I could never do that. And I was just kind of just like, I guess actually that's kind of like,
you should.
I don't know. I just never do any of that shit. I mean, yeah, like if my my voice is, if my throat's bothering me or anything, like, yeah, I'll have some tea or whatever. But as far as like, I don't take care of it, which honestly I should be doing because, and I was thinking about this the other day, the amount that I am using it, it's only going to crash and burn if I don't, you know.
Yeah, dude, just take a shot of whiskey before every show you're good, you know.
I mean, I already am doing that regularly, so I guess I am taking care of it.
Before, during, and after. Yeah. When I was getting my music theory degree, I was working with a couple of professional singers, and that's when I was like first getting good like vocal health lessons and shit. But yeah, this one of my teachers' name was Tim Filliman. He was like this like 400-pound opera singer. He was badass.
Yeah, so he had power.
But he didn't move. He stayed in his one spot in his little office next to the piano. But he could belt.
Yeah, had
like
power.
Like straight up voice of the gods. And dude, he was an opera singer for the Lyric Opera in Chicago.
Oh wow.
And he was telling me in like the 90s, they would rehearse for like 6 hours every day of singing.
Yeah, I just don't know, like, how do you, like, I mean.
It's like the ultimate, you have to perfect and know everything about your voice to take care of it. But
it happened to me.
If it doesn't hurt right now, you're fine. I mean,
it does, but I just know that, like, this is my first time really, like, in my life. Last year, I mean, I've always been playing music, obviously, but this is really, like, last year was the first year where I had played by far the most amount of gigs I've ever played in my life. I think I played almost 120 gigs last year.
Hell yeah, dude.
And it was great, but that I've never done. Maybe the most I've ever done before that was maybe like, I don't know, like in the 30s or 40s. Like, so like doing the stuff that I have been doing, it's definitely fun, but I just feel like it, and I want, and now at the top of the year and everything, I'm like, I have a whole year now to be doing this. So
yeah, dude.
I want to be doing all that, but I'm like,
let's go.
I think I need to be a little smarter with the way that I'm like,
don't kill yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I should probably be doing a better job with that because I don't want to be like an Adele or a John Mayer or somebody who all of a sudden just loses their voice because they're.
Yeah, you'll get those vocal notes and then you.
Yep.
And then you get surgery and it's like a 50-50 chance you fuck your whole career.
And I don't like smoke cigarettes or anything like how, I don't think Mayer did, but I know that Adele did and that was a big reason why. But, like, it's like, I mean, I definitely drink and I definitely.
You look a lot cooler when you smoke, when you sing.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. Or when you have nobody does this anymore, but there's so many pictures of like Clapton used to put his cigarette like in the headstock while playing. That's fucking badass. And then you see in the corner of the headstock that like it'd be burned from the cigarette.
Yeah.
So sick.
I love that.
Yeah. You don't see that anymore. It doesn't hit as hard when you put the vape in
the jewel tucked between the strings.
Yeah, I don't think that would hit as hard.
Hey guys, you made it this far. Some quick, shameless self-promotion. I'm giving you a free coupon to my store on freddytylerpaul.com. You can get any tee, any sweater, any book, any album of mine for 25% off. Just put in bad advice at checkout and you're golden. All right, back to the pod.
Like those fuckers on like CNN or Fox, like to climb.
What an intro, by the way. I wonder how those fuckers.
Dude, they are fuckers.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Like to climb the hosting ladder to become this massive pundit or whatever.
So one of my friends from high school right now, he's not trying to do that, but he is a reporter for Fox LA right now. And he's been a reporter in his name is Travis Rice. And he's on TV all the time. Now you ever turn on Channel 11, he's on.
And he's your buddy?
Yeah, he's a guy I went to high school with, and he's like one of my best friends.
Wait, what? He's an actual anchor, or he calls?
He's a field reporter.
Oh, okay.
So he's like out like doing stories for Fox LA all the time.
That's kind of fun.
He does not want to be though. He doesn't want to be an anchor. He doesn't want to be he's always kind of wanted to do, kind of honestly wanted to be like the host of Tonight Show. Like that's kind of more like what he wants to be doing.
I see.
And, but he's using the on-camera experience and kind of like trying to, use that kind of social ladder. And he's like, kind of like sneaking some comedy into some of the segments he's doing, which is pretty funny actually. And it's, it's kind of, it is kind of one of those situations where it's like, you know, when sometimes people are like, you know, oh, this athlete's so funny. It's like, oh, is he funny or is he just funny for the situation? And I think it's kind of maybe a little bit sometimes going on there too. But the stuff he does do.
How funny are you allowed to be before you get fired?
Right. Yeah. He's definitely walking that that tightrope a little bit. But some of the stuff he sneaks in there, it's like, that's pretty fucking good. I'm surprised to let you do that.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, I think that trying to climb that social ladder would be fucking nightmare. Like,
yeah, because first of all, it's like a career thing. It's like you don't just transition into that from mopping the hallway or something. You know, like you have to do that for 40 years.
Yeah, no, he was in Iowa at first for a few years, and then he was in I think Charleston, and then in Arizona. Like he's bouncing around just these different markets, you know. And it's like
doing the weather in like New Mexico. It's like it's 80 and sunny.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, tomorrow will be more of the same.
Yeah. I always liked, you know how it's like the green screen for the weather, and like some like news anchor is wearing like a green shirt.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like they, you know, be like probably the first rule they teach you in like, you know, meteorology school.
Don't wear this fucking
Don't wear
outfit.
the same color of the fucking screen.
Do you remember? For some, I guess they might still be popular, but for Halloween, like the full like spandex outfit.
Oh yeah.
That people wear.
Green Man.
Or when they're streaking across like
Green Man and Blue Man. And, yeah. Wasn't that like a Always Sunny thing?
Yeah. Day Man or
I thought it was something with like the Green Man costume.
I do. Yeah, you was.
There's something with that. Yeah.
I can't remember, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, no, but you're right. That was definitely I feel like you'd see it like in like the student section of like a basketball game or something like that. You always be like,
oh man, dude, the Sunny dudes, like that's such a great.
They started a pod too.
Yeah, dude, that was one of the reasons I really wanted to start this too.
Oh, really?
Because those guys are doing the same. Although they're going through their episodes and stuff because they have so many.
Yeah.
But their entire podcast is just them shooting the shit with each other.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, I mean that's a show I need to get. I
love all those actors too.
Yeah,
they're all such great people.
Yeah, I liked the series that Rob did with the one about his soccer team recently. Yeah.
With Ryan Reynolds.
Welcome to Wrexham.
Was that Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah. Welcome to Wrexham, I think is what it's called.
That's such a funny.
Yeah, it was good. It was pretty funny.
I only got like halfway, but I imagine did the team. What happened to the team?
They ended up kind of going decently far. Didn't win it.
Yeah.
I think they kept the coach. They did.
It wasn't like a storybook ending.
Yeah, no, they Hollywooded the fuck up for sure. But they did one thing that I thought was like I was cracking up at where, and I think this is so funny because they're the owners of the team, and I wish honestly that more owners were like this, but they did like a fake Sports Center segment where it was the two of them like recapping a highlight of one of their games, and they had gotten the shit kicked out of them, and it was like them being like, it was like showing the highlights, and it was them being like, yeah, and then this guy over here kicks this fucking thing, and then this guy over here fucking misses this shit, and then this guy and it was hilarious because it's like that's how you would hear, like that's how I would talk about like my team.
You're a big football guy.
Yeah, I just recently went through one of the most embarrassing like losses of all time on Saturday.
The Chargers.
Yeah, not great. But that's been my entire life as a fan of this team. So honestly, it really was not.
What was the score?
At one point, the Chargers were up 27-0, and they lost the game 31-30.
No.
Yes.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah, and on the national stage,
someone got cut loose after that game.
We've fired a few coaches since, but unfortunately, to my, I'm set up. We have not fired the head coach, which I'm like, I don't really like. It's
dude. When I was a kid, when I was in grade school, I was one of the better athletes, which says a lot.
What did you play?
We played basketball, volleyball, track.
Yeah, I was gonna say basketball for you. I feel like you look like a basketball guy.
In high school, I did volleyball 4 years, basketball freshman year. But we were so bad in grade school. Like my entire grade school competition career was so sad. Like, so just like it just beat me down where just my competitiveness in the sports world was just eradicated.
You're just like, yeah, what? Like, it's.
I'm
just,
like, I don't care. Like, let's go play this game, get our asses handed to us, So it was just like,
so you guys weren't even competing.
no.
It was like,
Dude,
I'm just here.
when we had my 8th grade basketball coach, I always think about him because his name was Mr. Stapleton.
That's a classic like coach name.
I don't know. Yeah, I know. It's a great name. I don't know if he's still around just because his blood, pressure must have been through the fucking roof. But he was always kind of, my 8th grade year was his last year, oddly enough. But he would swear. He was just aggressive for the age bracket he was coaching.
Right.
And he would cuss at us and swear. I remember we played this one game against, it was a Catholic grade school, against St. Raymond's. And when it's like halftime, where it's like 41s is like 3 in a basketball game.
A typical score
Dude,
in a basketball game.
Yeah,
of course.
So bad. And it's like the halftime, and he brings us all into like this halftime locker room, and he's fucking cussing at us like, you bunch of fucking prima donnas, and like just being aggressive. And we leave the locker room, and it's so clear every adult in the bleacher heard every single word he was yelling at us. Like they're all staring at us in quiet. And it was just like so embarrassing. But yeah, I think it ended like 70 to 10.
I was gonna say you ended up coming back and winning the game, right?
Yeah, Air Bud came.
Yeah.
And saved the fucking day, dude.
Comet showed up out of nowhere.
Comet Junior. Yeah, I don't know. It was like that. And then I did football in grade school too. I just fucking hated it. Did you play football in high school?
Yeah, played football in high school. Played all 4 years. Honestly liked it a lot, but there was definitely hated fucking practice. I hated my coaches.
Yeah, dude, they're all dicks.
They fucking hated me. Thought I was like some, music pussy. But I actually played though. I wasn't bad. Like I
what was your position?
I kind of bounced around. Like my freshman year, I was a tight end and a cornerback.
Yeah.
And I played a decent amount. And that was my first year playing football too. So I was kind of proud of myself that I was able to do that. Because I didn't grow up really watching football or liking football. I was we were a baseball house. Like we grew up, I played baseball. Yeah. That was like what I played really young.
I did baseball through grade school too.
And played it year round too. Like we played soccer a little bit when I was younger, but then I think after that.
Baseball is so much more chill, dude.
Baseball I loved it, dude. And honestly, so did all of us. Like my whole family, we were really big baseball family. We'd always be at games and
the games are the best.
Yeah, my parents I know really liked it too. And it was a good time. And I wanted to play football, but they wouldn't let me play because I was just doing a bunch of other shit. I was also, I got a black belt when I was like 13.
Shit.
So I did karate forever when I was younger.
That's
too.
awesome.
And which
you ever chop shit for fun?
Yeah. That's how I actually.
You got that extra bedroom in your apartment. That's the karate room.
Yeah, that's the karate. Yeah, that's the karate room. They're like, "Oh, you got a recording studio?" I'm like, "No. It's a dojo, actually."
The whole house is a karate room.
So I chop my vegetables and shit. Yeah.
That's sick.
But yeah, so I was doing a bunch of shit, guitar and all that stuff, and so they wouldn't let me play football. And my dad was like old school, where he was like, they didn't have fucking, Pop Warner football when I was a kid. You played football when you went to high school. You'll do the same. I'm like, all right, whatever. So my first year of football was when I was a freshman. And I remember like asking my dad, before, I think maybe one of the first practices, what are the positions? And I didn't really know what football, what is a defensive end? I didn't really get it. I was I kind of knew I know what a quarterback, I know what touchdowns and but I didn't really know all the rules. I didn't really know, so I definitely think for the first few months, it was kind of a learning curve, but I was trying to be a receiver and shit. So it was easy enough to just run routes and cover somebody,
I was in the same boat. When my dad signed me up for football in 6th grade, and I never at any point in my life was following watching sports like actively. Like my dad would watch sports,
Right.
but I just never took an interest in just sitting down and watching a game for 3 hours.
Yeah, no, it's a commitment for sure.
But I always loved going to the fucking game. The atmosphere is like, that's what I love.
Yeah. Baseball games are great for that too. That's a real just like.
And dude, Chicago, Wrigley Field back in the day when it was like a sunny fucking summer day, my dad would always take us to the Crosstown Classic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The Cubs versus the White Sox. Because it was just, it's a classic game.
Yeah, everybody's talking shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that sounds like fun.
I had an aunt who used to manage one of the rooftops.
Oh, cool.
Which was right outside of the bleachers in left field. And so we'd usually go there and just watch on the rooftop. But now, dude, they blocked all that shit with like ads and billboards and shit. It's fucking
corporate. Once they put up a fucking Under Armour sign in like the vines, you're like,
dude,
we're in trouble.
Such bullshit. There's just too much money to be made.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, too, we would watch, like, they would have, like, I remember I went to the rooftop for a Elton John, Billy Joel concert.
That's so awesome.
Granted, we couldn't really see anything because of how they configured the stadium.
But you could hear it.
But you could hear it, and you're just vibing on a summer night.
That's so cool.
Dude, Chicago, peak summer, like June, July, August. That's really all you get.
Yeah.
September, maybe. But yeah, dude, peak July, everyone's out. Chicago's so electric in the summer.
Never been.
Dude, you gotta go. We should go this summer.
Yeah, I'd be down. I mean, yeah, never
There's
been.
Some blues mecca
awesome.
areas,
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I've heard awesome things. Just never honestly had an opportunity to go, and yeah, it's definitely a place that's on my list for sure.
Yeah. All right, so let's check out some of these advice little bits.
Let's do it.
My girlfriend expects me to last 2 hours during sex and says that is standard, but I can only go for 25 minutes or so. Please help me settle this debate.
Okay.
Dude, that's a lot.
So I think my first question to the girlfriend would be, where is this base? Where are you getting this?
Yeah. I guess,
there's a bigger issue there then.
I suppose like her prior experience are definitely dudes who just can't come. Like they have difficulty coming. And so they just
2
last.
hours?
That's way too fucking
2
long. 2
hours? Like, I mean, I've definitely like, don't get me wrong, like I can definitely be like, I can go long in certain situations, but after a while, like even
like you just want to get it over. That's
but even like the girl, I feel like after a while I'd be like, can we take a break for a second? Dude. Because like I'm starting to fucking get
pounded,
sore.
Bro.
Like, so that's why it's like, what do you mean? Like you're just like expecting 2 hours all the time.
Jesus Christ. Like I guess if you were fucking pumped full of Viagra, even, like to 2 hours, dude, I would say an hour is max.
Now, does 2 hours mean like from the start of
foreplay for an hour?
Because then I mean, that's still, even then, that's still pretty long. But like,
yeah, dude, that's
a long time.
That's man. A lot of demand.
Like, imagine like if you were a couple or something where like you had a routine or something where maybe you guys hook up before you go to bed, or maybe you hook up in the morning. Imagine having to put aside 2 hours for that every time. That's not normal.
Yeah, you need a lot.
So we're gonna hook up in the morning, so that means we got to get up extra 2 hours earlier.
You got to put that in the schedule.
Yeah, like that's not. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think your dick would have like sores after a week if you're dating this chick.
Yeah, no, everybody would be in some type of. They'd ever be on the IR.
I mean, at least your girl wants it from you, bro. So at least you're getting laid.
2 hours.
Just fucking talk to her,
And 25 minutes is just fine. Like that's not bad.
That seems fair.
It's not.
That's
good.
fair, dude.
I was expecting like 3 minutes or something. Yeah. I'd be like, okay, well.
I would say a half hour for me is pretty standard.
Yeah, and that's something that you should be proud about as well too.
yeah.
Everybody's got their own journey.
Yeah, the one pump kings out there. Poor guys.
Just keep at it, guys.
All right, let's see what else we got.
Alcohol helps.
All right, this is kind of interesting because I think you could relate to this.
Okay.
One. All right. My husband and I don't agree on whether to circumcise our future children or not. This is the only disagreement about our future children we have, and I want to get it settled before we start having children. What are your thoughts? I feel like things have changed in modern times, but
I don't know. This is a one where I think that it's like, I think it's a pretty, and I could be wrong, but I think that like it's almost turned into like an American thing.
Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Like it's definitely a Jewish thing, but then I also don't think that it's necessarily just if you're Jew. Like I think that like that's what I meant. Like I think it's turned into like an American thing.
Yeah, it's just like it is an American.
Yeah,
I think that's the main explanation for it. Like every dad just wants their kid's dick to look like theirs.
Yeah, I think it's like in America. I don't know, man. I mean, like,
yeah, it's so fucking weird. Like
I fucking like mine. Like I don't know. I mean, like that would be my advice to the kid. I'd be like, I like it. I don't know.
Like the poor fucking nurse or doctor that has to cut this little kid's dick, like slice
or a moil, which is the Jewish. It's a rabbi that
who does all of them.
That does the brisks.
What does he do with them? So he just like
keeps them in a jar like a tooth fairy.
He has a necklace made out of. Ew.
No, that's the classic. It's
they're in a jar somewhere.
No, it's the classic joke that everybody says. It's the how much does the moil charge? Nothing. He keeps the tips. There you go.
Oh my god,
it's a joke that's been said a billion times. It'll be said a billion times more.
I've probably heard that. But
it's a big Jewish. My dad has probably said that one to me like at least 100 times.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm circumcised. I don't know if I'd really have my future son do it just because I'd feel bad because it's forced on him for no fucking reason.
As somebody who is a survivor of that, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, like, I don't give a shit either. All right, let's do one more. See what we got.
All right.
I guess this is a good existential one, actually. I just received a terminal diagnosis. What should I do with less than a year to live?
Jeez. I mean,
assuming he's spry, isn't hindered by his diagnosis at all.
And I guess depending on also, how much
time
how much is at his exposure financially as well too.
Right. Let's say you got an unlimited amount of cash to burn.
And then I think honestly, like I would be, I'd be traveling as much as I could. I'd be doing some shit that like, honestly, I'd like doing some crazy ass shit that I wouldn't care if I died,
Doing some fucking like meth in Vegas.
Yeah, maybe try some type of crazy drug.
Yeah, let's say no matter what you do, you're not getting arrested either. Like this is like GTA. You got all the cheat codes at this point.
Then fuck, that's
like I definitely would go to Europe and do some havoc out there. Maybe Australia. There's a lot more room to cause some chaos.
I'm trying to think of like because the adding the not getting arrested element is interesting. That's an interesting thing now. So now I'm trying to think of some trouble I can cause.
Yeah.
Like maybe I don't know, steal like I don't know something that's like
an F-16.
Yeah, steal or like I don't know, like
very quickly.
Go get like some famous Hendrix guitar that's in some museum and just go take that out and start playing that. Just shit like that. Like just something that's like.
Dude, I've always wanted to drive a tank.
That'd be sick. Just run some bunch of shit over.
Yeah, or a monster truck even.
I think I'd want to like use like the Mona Lisa as a napkin. Like something like
just
that.
Just being totally disrespectful about it.
Chaos.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you could go to museum. Yeah, just breaking all the statues in a museum would be cathartic in its own way, but also
like a smash room, but it's like
like high end work.
It's like the Smithsonian. Yeah, that'd be great.
I would be all for that. I think there should be like a Goodwill size smash room.
Go to like Jay Leno's like garage with all his cars and just start fucking breaking all the cars with a bat or something.
That would be savagery. I would just feel too bad about hurting art like that. Like to actually piss on like those fuckers like threw like soup on the Mona Lisa or some painting.
Yeah, that was dumb.
It was like so fucking dumb, and it's like just so disrespectful. Like of an artist.
The cause is I get the art thing. I think I would just more just like, I don't know, all the pretentious people that are like, I'd think of that. Sometimes I just want to like kind of, just put the middle finger and like,
Yeah. Go
the gatekeepers of that kind of stuff,
Right.
I think that's like, I don't know.
I think it's cool when people like throw like cake on like a billionaire as he's like walking between his car and the building or something.
That's a good one. Or like there was a FIFA documentary that was like going around on Netflix, and there was a great clip of like some dude like at some press conference or whatever just dumped a bunch of money, like fake money, on the owner of FIFA with like blood on it or something. That's awesome. Like, something like that. Yeah, stuff like that's awesome when,
Dude, like I saw photos recently of
throwing the shoe at George Bush.
Yeah, that's such
great duck though, too.
I love that video.
Great duck.
That's the video they should be sending into space, like, with that gold vinyl,
That or the when he I think he says like he's like, yeah, we're gonna bomb by Iran while he's on like the driving range, and then he goes, now watch this drive. All time clip. Now watch this drive.
Yeah. What were we talking about before that?
Just what we would do if we had the terminal disease.
Yeah.
And what we'd do in a year.
It's such a great question. Did you ever play GTA? Like the prime GTA?
Vice City was like a big, we played Vice City a lot.
Being able to just out of the blue, like Sims was one of those games where you could just type in unlimited money basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I miss like, they don't really make games that have cheat codes anymore. You gotta like buy like a little skin or something, It's like add-ons that you gotta purchase.
007 GoldenEye cheat codes. That was a good one too.
Dude, that was so great. I remember
I think there would be a cheat code where you wouldn't die. Like unlimited death.
Yeah, dude. Or there were just dumb ones where it was like everyone's heads were big like head. Giant.
Yep. I was gonna say big like, head was one I definitely remember.
Like totally pointless. Like there's nothing that needs that to be a cheat code.
I think there was also one where they would be like this like size of ants or something like that as well too. Yeah.
Oh man, I don't know. You don't play that many games these days.
Not really. I mean, the only ones that I did were like sports ones. I played like 2K and for a little bit just because I was just like, it was just like easy to just shut your mind off.
Can you imagine buying basketball? Like FIFA? All right, buying FIFA every year for like 20 years.
I mean, fucking people do it, which is crazy. The Madden one was crazier 17. Because Madden has gotten so bad the last like 10 years.
I heard, dude. It's so
sad.
I
played it like I remember I've got one in like I think like 2018. I remember being like, dude, this is like not that much different from like when I played in high school.
Yeah,
it was like
the mechanics don't change. Like it's the same plays.
It's like at least like the 2K game. It's like okay, yeah, this is actually like at least the graphics and stuff are pretty cool. Like it's sometimes like. I remember there'd be times like where my ex would walk in and be like, "I didn't know there was a game on this late." It's like, no, it's a video game.
Yeah.
Like it does look like sometimes actually like a basketball.
No, it does look good.
Yeah, but
if you were
not Madden though.
If you were the like game designer, you're like just like throwing new names on everyone's backs.
Yeah, and basically just
reselling
like, and like maybe like changing their stats a little bit. Like now you're an 87 instead of an 86.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
But.
Do you remember? I was actually just thinking about this morning about the last time I played Madden was like 06, 07. I had no like prowess in knowing what plays to do. I would just do like Hail Marys all game.
Come on. That's like you gotta go for gold, man. Go for touchdowns.
Yeah, dude.
I don't blame you. I would do that like even when I was playing in like Madden like in 2018. Like I would be playing and like every like play I'd call an audible to like somebody just run some deep shit.
Yeah.
Like just want to throw bombs, That's why we play video games. I don't want to be running the ball for 2 yards. It's boring.
Dude, the QB back in the day, like when you were in school, was always kind of like the guy.
Oh, I mean, it still is today. It's like it's like not to turn this into like a sports podcast or anything, but I mean, like if you don't have a good quarterback, then you're not going to be good.
Right. That's
like,
true. Yeah.
It's the guy for a reason.
Are they letting? Are they doing co-ed football around the country at all?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think that should be a thing.
Probably not a good idea.
People are gonna get wrecked.
Yeah, probably not a good idea. Especially like some of these dudes in the NFL are so fucking big and strong. I mean, it's like,
dude, did you see that? I mean, I'm sure you
irresponsible.
did. What was his name?
DeMar Hamlin.
Yeah, that was so fucked.
Yeah.
That was a fucked video.
What was? Yeah.
Apparently, he's recovering though.
Yeah, he's out of the hospital now. I don't know if he'll play football again though. I don't think they've said anything about that yet. But
dude,
it was a freak accident. Apparently, it's more of a common injury in baseball and with little leaguers.
Right, like a baseball whacking them in the chest.
Yeah.
I've gotten whacked by a ball a few times that bad.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, and I've definitely taken some hits before in football where I've definitely gotten some concussions before, and I've definitely gotten the air knocked the fuck out of you.
Dude, I remember one time there was this one game I was like part of the special teams, and we were kicking, so we were chasing the fucker across the field.
I used to call that the kamikaze team. The guys that were on the kickoff team.
It's a wild fucking event.
Just being sent, basically, just run down and go hit somebody.
Yeah. And I remember like, the classic. Some dude comes to your side, and just fucking flips me, and I remember just being so out of breath, like absolutely whacked, and I'm like, I'm not going in the next play, bro. I'm sitting this one out. And there's just so many plays that happen on the daily, like for little league games. They were like, that kid is gonna get like that hit may very well affect their brain development.
Oh, for sure. No, I mean, I think that they say like that until like 25, your brain is like basically like plastic. Like it's like so to be,
and that's the prime playing years.
Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely it's concerning, but I don't know. I mean, like I play football and I feel like I'm okay. Right. Like I've had, and honestly, it's not like you're not going to get a concussion in another sport. Like you can get a concussion playing baseball. You can get a concussion doing a lot of other things.
Or like my favorite hockey is the one sport where you just let the fuckers go at it.
Oh yeah,
I love that aspect of that sport.
That's definitely the one thing that's like a cultural thing growing up here is that like you do not watch hockey here.
No, yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit more like, but there's not a hockey team in my high school.
Yeah.
It's not something that you could play in sports or anything.
I don't think there were really, it was like Park District hockey
growing
up around me, but the Blackhawks were a popular team, but there's a minor league team that I love to go see called the Wolves.
Okay. Are they the minor league for the Blackhawks?
Yeah. And it was just fun to go see them because it was just basically high level hockey.
Right.
But the tickets were affordable. And then like everything was just half price. Right. I think that's probably why my dad brought me there.
Yeah, makes sense.
But like just being at the game and seeing the violence happening that close to you, because like those dudes will fucking knock each other's teeth out any chance they get.
Oh yeah.
And you do that in football, you get a fucking flag. Or like, although it's like there's just a level of aggression you can't pass.
Yeah.
And that in football and hockey, it's kind of like you just sit in a timeout for a few minutes.
That's true. It is very like adolescence, like go sit in the corner.
Yeah.
You can't come in for 5 minutes.
Yes.
You're in timeout.
Yeah. I think every sport should have that. Like if baseball let the fuckers just fucking kick each other, like just beat the shit out of each other between pitches.
I mean, the baseball turns into brawls. Like that's like it's very hard for anybody to get any like on. I mean, there's been actually in the last few years a couple solid shots here and there. Like Jose Altuve fucking socked a dude in the face. Like that was like you see the guy's jaw like moving. It was crazy. But I feel like baseball for the most part you'll get.
It's always the catchers that start shit.
Or they'll be trying to save like somebody trying to stick, because it's usually like like a batter running at a pitcher, and the catcher's usually trying to be like no, and then they're in the middle of it, and then all of a sudden it's there's 60 dudes all just jumping all over the place.
Can you imagine like there has to be some catcher that just had the most trash talk and banter, just trashing everyone who came to the plate.
For sure.
There's got to be a fucking movie about that. Like there's got to be like.
I think the catcher in the Sandlot would do that shit. You
Yeah,
always,
yeah,
say something,
yeah.
you know, like
But I would love a higher, like a Christian Bale, role,
a secret, like a dramatic biopic about a shit talking catcher.
I would watch the fuck out of that, dude. Like Babe Ruth back in the day, wasn't he eating like fucking like hot dogs and shit?
They get like full on like roasts and shit. Yeah, have like fucking
like a barbecue, dude.
The car having and probably drinking as well. Too.
Oh, dude. Back in that era of just debauchery, and there's no cameras to catch you being rowdy either.
Be real men.
Yeah, dude. All right, man. Well, I think, do you have any new shows or songs coming out soon that you want to promote?
I'm gonna definitely be releasing a couple new tracks over the next few months. Just look out for a bunch of new music in 2023, and we'll be doing a bunch of shows around LA. So check me out.
Sweet, dude. Bryan Lazar, my boy.
Happy to be on the pod. Thanks for having me.
Peace out.